I accidentally caught Song Jian's stepsister trying to kiss him and advised him to sort out their relationship sooner rather than later. His stepsister ran away from home in a fit of anger, got into a car accident, and tragically passed away. Later, I was in a car accident myself and ended up in a vegetative state. In front of the media, Song Jian held my hand and vowed to take care of me for the rest of my life. In the dead of night, he drove a steel needle into my flesh. Does it hurt? When Jie died in my arms, her pain was 1,000 times worse than this. Only then did I realize the car accident was his deliberate scheme, all to avenge his stepsister. When I opened my eyes again, I had been reborn. His own personal hell had begun. 1. The day Song Jian's stepsister returned to the country, we had a crucial business deal to discuss that evening. Song Jian answered the call and began with a rebuke. Song Jie, you're so spoiled, you're always making trouble for me. You just had to have me pick you up from the airport. Don't you know I'm in the middle of a business deal? But even as he said that, I saw him turn around, put on his jacket, and walk over to me. Manchu, I'll leave the company matters to you for now. That little troublemaker Jie is a handful. I need to keep an eye on her and make sure she doesn't cause any more trouble. I looked up, somewhat hesitantly. My stunned silence was mistaken for displeasure by Song Jian. In the blink of an eye, a damp, unpleasant kiss landed. A wave of indescribable revulsion lingered on my forehead where he had kissed me. I scrubbed at the spot for what felt like ages, finally soothing that lingering discomfort in my heart. Watching Song Jian's retreating figure fade into the distance, the realization hit me. I had been reborn. Otherwise, given how much he hates me, he would never have made such an intimate gesture. 2. Yes, Song Jian hates me, because in our past life, I accidentally caught Song Jie trying to kiss him. At that moment, I fought to contain my rage. Song Jian, Song Jie is your stepsister, and I am your fiancé. I need you to think this through carefully. Before Song Jian could make a choice, Song Jie shouted and stormed off. You don't have to pressure my brother, I'll leave. No one expected that Song Jie would be killed in a car accident on the road. After Song Jie's death, Uncle Song furiously accused me. He called me a murderer, saying I had taken the life of Auntie's last remaining family in this world. Yet, Song Jian calmly stepped forward to shield me. This was just an accident. It had nothing to do with Manchu. He counseled me, comforted me, and stood up for me when Song Jie's fans cyberbullied me. He was even willing to break ties with Uncle Song to marry me. I walked alongside Song Jian, filled with remorse. It wasn't until later, when I was in a car accident and became comatose. During a media interview, Song Jian vowed solemnly that he would take care of me for the rest of my life, but in the dead of night, when no one was around, he would drive steel needles into my flesh. Does it hurt? When Jie died in my arms, her pain was 10,000 times worse. This is what you owe her. Madness gleamed in his eyes, but that wasn't enough. He orchestrated the bankruptcy of the Zhou family, took me to the rooftop, and forced me to watch my father jump to his death. Zhou Daji. The reason your family has come to this is all because you raised a daughter with a heart of a serpent, cold-blooded and merciless. Jump, if you jump, I might just consider saving what's left of the Zhou family. Fueled by a powerful, all-consuming hatred, I struggled to my feet, wrapped my arms around Song Jian, and leaped from the rooftop. The wind howled in my ears, punctuated by my father's hysterical cry of Manchu. I closed my eyes, filled with remorse. I never imagined that a single sentence from the past would lead both myself and the Zhou family into an abyss of utter ruin. If I could do it all over again, I would stop this from happening. Thankfully, fate was kind, and I was given a second chance. 3. After Song Jian left, I had my secretary prepare a gift package for me. During the business dinner that evening, the investor, noticing Song Jian's absence, deliberately tried to make things difficult. Business people all value decorum. Don't you agree, Mr. Zhou? He picked up a bottle of baijiu and gestured for me to drink. It was just like this in my past life. Song Jian went to the airport to pick up Song Jie, leaving me alone to deal with this pack of disgruntled old foxes. To secure the deal and keep them from taking their anger out on Song Jian, I downed 2 whole bottles of baijiu, while I was in the hospital getting my stomach pumped. The short video he made with Song Jie went viral, making them the internet's favorite hoodie-clad couple. Given a second chance at life, someone else can play the sucker this time. I pushed the glass of baijiu away and took out the gift I had prepared. Mr. Shen, that's a rather one-sided view. You can't judge my entire bowl of porridge as spoiled just because of one bad grain. While fine liquor has its merits, it can't compare to this light tea. Knowing your refined taste, I've specially brought some premium Junshan silver needle, please. Share a cup with me, you're quite young, President Zhou, yet you handle affairs with such steadiness. What, did you think saying that would make me let the matter with Song Jian slide? Song Jian, who's that? I thought you were here today, Mr. Shen, to discuss business with me. Upon hearing this, Mr. Shen couldn't help but laugh. In the world of business, everyone's a seasoned fox. Anyone hearing that would know there's bad blood between me and Song Jian. Thanks to my past life experience, I presented the project's potential and profitability with effortless ease. In that case, I'll have to trouble you to take extra care of it, Director Zhou. Oh, it's nothing. By the time we finished discussing the project, it was already evening. When I stepped out of the hotel, Song Jian was waiting outside. Song Jian explained to me with a smile just how unreasonable Song Jieja had been. Finally, he produced an exquisitely packaged bottle of hawthorn and apple drink. Manchu, alcohol is bad for your health. I bought this especially for you. Bad for my health. I couldn't help but let out a scornful laugh. If he truly cared about me, the solution would have been to keep me from drinking, not to leave me alone to face the investor's wrath. Seeing my displeasure, he made a show of shaking his fist. Did Mr. Shen give you a hard time? I'll get him back for you. I gave him a cold, mocking look. What nonsense are you talking about? Today's business went perfectly smoothly. It just had nothing to do with the Song family. Manchu, I knew it, you're the most capable one. Thinking I had secured the deal with Mr. Shen for him, Song Jian eagerly ushered me to the car. Song Jieja was quicker, plopping herself down in the passenger seat. She was chewing a piece of bubblegum, pop, the pink bubble burst. Bro, I'm exhausted, I don't want to move. With that, she curled up and watched me with keen interest. Sister Manchu is so kind and gracious, I'm sure she won't mind sitting in the back, right? 4. Song Jian flicked Song Jieja on the forehead. Lazybones. When are you ever going to grow up? Song Jieja rubbed her head. If you're this mean to me, be careful or Manchu won't want you anymore. After that one reprimand, nothing more was said. Song Jian looked at me apologetically. I've spoiled Jieja. Manchu, please don't take it to heart. He didn't let Song Jieja get out of the car and took a seat in the back. Instead, he told me not to make a big deal out of Song Jieja's behavior. In my past life, I was a fool for not realizing that the intimacy between Song Jian and Song Jieja had long crossed the line of what's appropriate for siblings. No, thanks, I'm particular about cleanliness. I tossed the hawthorn drink back, shut the door, and called my driver. 10 minutes later, a flashy red Ferrari appeared right on the sidewalk. Get in, miss. I stared at Qing Yixing in the passenger seat, his red hair making me lose focus for a moment. The howling north wind stung my face. I tucked my hair behind my ear and got in the car anyway. Once inside, I transferred 200 to the driver and told him not to come. Seeing my displeasure, Qing Yixing turned on the heater and put on some soothing music. Perhaps from the day's exhaustion, I drifted off to sleep without even realizing it. When I woke up, I was greeted by Qing Yixing's face, handsome in a way that made you want to punch it. Hey, Sleeping Beauty's finally awake. I've got some bad news for you. Wanna hear it? 5. Seeing my lackluster reaction, Qing Yixing tried to lighten the awkward mood with a forced whistle. Number 10 on the trending list. Qing Yixing tossed his phone to me. Trending at number 10, Little Minx, your mouth says no, but your body tells a different story. It's the video of Song Jieja chasing after Song Jian to put a hoodie on him. In the video, Song Jian strides ahead with his long legs, while Song Jieja chases after him holding a light pink hoodie, even from behind. You can see the stiffness in Song Jian's posture, a full-body rejection from head to toe. But then, the camera angle flipped, and Song Jian pursed his lips tightly. With a resigned sigh, he turned around and let Song Jieja have her way with his outfit. Beneath the loose bear-print hoodie was a well-tailored, silver-gray suit jacket, paired with his suit trousers and leather shoes. The whole ensemble looked utterly ridiculous. Undeterred, Song Jieja excitedly pulled Song Jian into a spin. Their movements were intimate, making them look like a young couple deeply in love. The comment section is full of fans who are completely losing their minds. At AAA Keyboard Wholesaler, if they're not a couple, I'll livestream myself eating a keyboard. At 18-year-old aloof office drone, manifest the god of wealth. I'm manifesting the super handsome guy from the video. At Eats Mangoes Not Durian, I want to see this adorable couple get married in 3 minutes. Before long, Song Jieja sent me a voice message. Honestly, these netizens are something else. actually thinking there's something between me and Jian. Manchu, you're not upset, are you? Her tone was smug, laced with a barely contained provocation. Soon after, that voice message was deleted. Sensing something was off, they sent another pitiful-looking sticker. Ugh, the sheer audacity. Qing Yixing looked down on Song Jiejia's childish little tricks. Miss. It's only because you're so good-natured. A little green tea like that, I could put her in her place 800 times a day. Qing Yixing's words made me laugh in spite of myself. If anything, I'm the type who holds a grudge. Immediately, I sent a message to my secretary. I want to see this trending topic break into the top 3 within half an hour. Qing Yixing was utterly stunned. Hold on, you should have come to me for this. My company might not be good at much, but we've got plenty of marketing accounts. With that, Qing Yixing immediately contacted his assistant. 800 marketing accounts posted in unison, catapulting Song Jian and his sister to the top of the trending charts. 6. On the first day of my rebirth, utterly exhausted, I went to bed early and missed a major drama. In the morning, Qing Yixing came over to mooch a meal and, with dark circles under his eyes, described to me, holy crap. Last night Song Jian actually used his Weibo account to repost a comment from Eat Mango Not Durian. He's acting like a total airhead. Before this, Song Jian's Weibo account had only ever posted corporate promotions, aloof, low-key, and utterly mysterious. Reposting that comment, however, added a touch of mortal warmth to his account, the aloof and noble deity descending from his altar for his maiden. This instantly became the well-known rallying cry for the Wei CP fans. The blatant double standard in their treatment of each other has only fueled the CP fans' enthusiasm. As early as last summer, Song Jiejia went viral across the internet with a video of her performing the Huxian dance. In that video, dressed in Dunhuang Feitian attire, she danced gracefully amidst the desert sands. In the video, Song Jiejia appeared ethereal and elegant, like a celestial spirit who had descended to the mortal world. After gaining widespread attention, she gave an interview where she candidly stated that the dance was a special gift for someone. She didn't mention the person's name, but perfectly played the part of someone harboring a secret crush, complete with just the right amount of shyness. After that, her videos always carried a hint, however subtle, of a confession. Their relationship remained undefined, yet the connection lingered, never fully severed. Song Jiejia was already sweet and innocent, but her on-screen persona was utterly endearing, winning over countless fans. While she never revealed the person's identity, a huge number of shippers were eagerly rooting for her romance. Before going abroad, she posted her final video. The premise was simple and direct. If she won the gold medal in the competition, she would use the trophy to confess her feelings to that person. The match wasn't even over yet, but Song Jiejia had already rushed back. Fans flocked to Song Jiejia's account to offer comfort, only to stumble upon that video of her in a hoodie. While no names were explicitly mentioned, all the signs pointed clearly to the individuals involved. After Song Jian reposted the Weibo, it pushed the speculation about their ambiguous relationship to its peak. I thought Song Jian would take the opportunity to make our relationship official, but to my surprise, he actually called to explain things to me. Manchu, you have to believe me. I had no idea about what happened yesterday. Last night, Jiejia took my phone without asking to play a game and accidentally logged into my account. She was just being playful and didn't think before reposting that netizen's comment. An accident, a moment of mischief. I repeated the words. Song Jian scrambled to explain himself, hearing the sarcasm in my voice. He too realized how ridiculous his excuse sounded, and his voice trailed off. Song Jian. What your relationship with Song Jiejia is, I don't know. And I don't want to know. Song Jian was left speechless, but if Uncle Zhou misunderstands and causes trouble for Jiejia, I should have known. No wonder he was so eager to explain himself. He's afraid my dad will go after him. Even though I've given up on Song Jian, I couldn't help but laugh bitterly at his shameless words. My father doesn't hit women. Compared to Song Jiejia, I think you should be more worried about. Before I could finish my sentence, I heard a sweet, coquettish female voice come through the phone. Brother, did Jiejia get you into trouble? I raised an eyebrow and hit the record button. Song Jian had no idea I was still on the line. Song Jiejia, on the other hand, was deliberately asserting her dominance in front of me. Through the receiver, I was treated to another dramatic spectacle. Bang, the door slammed shut in anger. Song Jian, you little beast. How dare you get involved with your own sister? I'll teach you a lesson today, or you'll forget your own family name. After the sound of things being smashed, came the thud of a club striking flesh. Soon after, the sound of crying broke out. This has nothing to do with my brother, nothing to do with him. Don't you understand? If this gets out, it will ruin both of you. It's incest. How can it be? He's only my brother in name. Besides, how can you control matters of the heart? If you're going to hit someone today, then just kill me. Jejia, how could you, brother? My feelings for you are one-sided. It's my fault. I know I'm wrong, but I just can't help it. After the sound of a slap, the call was disconnected. I found Song Jejia's social media account. My brother is really something. He gave up 200 million just to pick me up. The comment section has gathered a large group of romantic and imaginative fans, even before the couple has made it official. Fans are already daydreaming about their married life. Some are even praying to the lucky koi, hoping to attract a handsome guy like Song Jian, who's willing to spend 200 million for his partner. The video's view count is staggering, but if you refresh the page, it's gone. I know. This is the Song family's damage control. If Song Jian truly wants to be with Song Jejia, he has to eliminate any potential negative publicity. This video about abandoning the business is a ticking time bomb. Even after deletion, it was still reposted by marketing accounts across various platforms. However, the reaction in the comments was completely different. Gave up a 200 million deal. If he hadn't taken you on, was that deal even guaranteed to succeed? You don't even bat an eye at 200 million. Do the employees at your brother's company know about this? My resentment for the rich has never been stronger than at this moment, thanks to big data and Qing Yixing's army of marketing accounts. The Wei ship was pushed to the feeds of all my and Song Jian's friends, family, and even business partners. My 5G speed WeChat friends saw the trending topic and came to me, the person involved, for the inside scoop on Song Jejia and Song Jian. My troublemaker friends who love palace dramas advised me to make a move, suggesting I get a beauty mark to win Song Jian back. And then there were the friends who love drama for drama's sake, proposing I take this chance to dump Song Jian and find myself a cute, younger guy to have some fun with. My dad and aunt, who were vacationing in Sanya, found out about the Song Jian situation and flew back overnight. My dad flew into a rage. That little brat, he's really asking for it. Does he even know his place? 7. Hearing this, my aunt chuckled. All you do is talk a big game. If you're so capable, then go ahead and cancel the joint projects with the Song family. Some people never learn until they feel the sting. With her aunt's advice, the Zhou group acted swiftly, terminating 2 inconsequential minor projects. Those projects were essentially a lifeline for the Song family, offered as a courtesy due to the marriage alliance. Their sudden cancellation sent the Songs into a panic. Song Jian quickly posted a clarification, detailing his relationship with Song Jejia and explicitly stating they were merely siblings, not a couple. The reposted Weibo was a misunderstanding. Our social media manager got a little too enthusiastic and posted from the wrong account. Since ancient times, no one ever reads the clarifications. Seeing this, Song Jian arrived at her door with a bouquet of roses. The housekeeper opened the door and welcomed him inside. Mr. Song, the young miss is in the study on the 2nd floor. Manchu. Song Jian came to my side and wrapped his arms around me from behind. I sidestepped to avoid him, brushing the dust from my clothes with distaste. Song Jian, just say what's on your mind. Manchu, you haven't spoken to me in 3 days. I've been messaging you, but you don't reply. Are you still angry with me about that video? I was wrong. I've learned my lesson. Please, just talk to me, okay? As he spoke, Song Jian demonstrated his limping gait for me. Did your father do that? Song Jian nodded, a somewhat ingratiating smile spreading across his face. You deserve, I sneered. A flash of anger crossed Song Jian's eyes, but he didn't dare lay a hand on me. About that project we did with the Song family before, is it? He probed cautiously. What project? I don't recall any such thing. Zhou Manchu, you're playing me. I've apologized. I've cleared things up. What more do you want from me? Do you really need Jejia and me to hang ourselves right in front of you before you'll let this go? Song Jian dropped the act, stood up, and sneered at me. Fine. So what if Jejia and I are a little too close? What about you? Can you honestly say there's nothing going on between you and Qing Yixing? Of course I can. Do you think everyone is as filthy as you? The commotion in the study was so loud it woke my father up. The moment he laid eyes on Song Jian, he didn't hesitate. He raised his hand and struck. Seeing this, the aunt handed over a rattan cane. Hitting him with your bare hand must hurt. Use this. Song Jian was beaten right out of the Zhou family's door. Song Baiyan, thinking him useless, went to confront him personally. only to end up getting beaten even worse than Song Jian. Qing Yixing stood with his hands on his hips, leaning against the doorframe. To raise a child without teaching him is the father's fault. Tell your son to stay out of trouble. 8. After the Song father and son were humiliated, they didn't just let it go. A week later, Song Jiejie started a live stream. Before the scandal, Song Jiejie was a major influencer with significant clout on short video platforms. The broadcast instantly captured everyone's attention. In the live stream, Song Jiejie looked pale, exuding the unique blend of fragile resilience and cool detachment characteristic of a White Lotus female lead. When I was 12, my mother remarried and brought me to the Song family. Besides Song Jiejie, I have another name, Zhao Jiejie. My brother was a man of few words. At first, he didn't like me, even disliked me, yet, I always liked to follow him around. The year I turned 15, my brother had an accident and was trapped in a fire. It was our mother who saved him, at the cost of her own life. After that, I lost the last family I had in this world, before our mother passed away. She asked my brother to take good care of me. Our relationship began to improve from that moment on. So what if he's my brother? We don't share the same blood. Love is, by its very nature, a capricious thing. I'm not ashamed to admit my feelings for my brother. My only regret is that the judgment of the world kept us apart. Sister Manchu, I apologize to you for this relationship. I sincerely wish you and my brother a lifetime of love and happiness. I also hope you can find it in your heart to let the Song family go. My brother and Uncle Song are innocent. Brother, if there is a next life, I hope I can call your name openly and without shame. After the live stream ended, Song Jiejie changed all her social media profile pictures to a solid black background. The next day, her assistant, Meng Lucy, spoke out on her behalf on social media. Jiejie swallowed a whole bottle of sleeping pills in her rental apartment last night. If I hadn't found her in time, none of you would ever see her again. Cyberbullying, suicide, brother complex, dance prodigy, layer upon layer of labels piled up, making Song Jiejie the center of the public's attention. Photos of Song Jiejie, who had miraculously survived the ordeal, resting in her hospital gown were being shared like wildfire. In the photo, Song Jiejie looked pale and utterly helpless. A crystal flower blooms quietly on a winter branch. Though the gale rages and crystal is fragile, its true nature remains unchanged. A fragile soul in pursuit of love always tugs at the heartstrings. As reason was eroded by emotion, the majority found themselves sympathizing with Song Jiejie. Is having a crush a crime? Come on, with a face like Song Jian's, anyone would be smitten, not just Song Jiejie. When it comes to love, who's to say what's right or wrong? She's already been through hell for love once. Do you really want to push her over the edge again? The troll army quickly jumped into the fray. Wait, who is this Manchu? From the sound of it, did she drive Song Jiejie to suicide? Zhou Manchu, Song Jian's fiancé. I heard she bullied Song Jiejie relentlessly. To drive a young girl to that point over a man, what a pathetic pick-me girl, unbelievable. Soon after, Meng Lucy tagged me in a rant on social media. Don't get too cocky, heaven is watching all of this. This snarky comment was quickly deleted, but netizens still managed to dig up the chat logs. In the chat logs, it was my sarcastic remarks towards Song Jiejie that started the whole thing. In an instant, I became the primary catalyst for Song Jiejie's suicide. Viewing things through the lens of a predetermined villain, fans combed through Song Jiejie's social media history and discovered that, for some time, there had consistently been one woman who singled her out for special targeting. When Song Jiejie bought a strapless cocktail dress for her birthday, that woman made a point of gifting her a more conservative dress set, implying it was better for a girl to dress modestly. When Song Jiejie was hospitalized with a high fever and needed Song Jian's care, that woman detained him, insisting he stay and have steak with her. Song Jiejie needed Song Jian to take her to school, but that woman insisted on dragging him out of town for a business trip. Incidents like this were too numerous to count. The portrait of a woman obsessed with competing for male attention was vividly painted. If I weren't that woman myself, I'd be the first to call her utterly despicable. Her fans, burning with righteous indignation, charged into battle for her, swarming my account to conduct a self-righteous inquisition. Some told me to get lost and stop interfering in their love. Others hurled abuse, calling me a jealous bitch who deserved to die. Some photoshopped obscene memorial pictures to slander me, and others even sent me jump scares via private messages. The internet has lowered the bar for humanity, turning anyone into a self-appointed moral guardian. My assistant looked utterly haggard, with dark circles under her eyes. Mister, Zhou, you might want to hold off on logging into your account for now. The current public sentiment is not in your favor. I can't stand dealing with social media. So I've handed all my accounts over to my assistant. You've had a rough time of it. I gave her cheek a little pinch and transferred her 2,000 yuan as compensation for her troubles. The moment the Alipay payment came through, the assistant's eyes lit up with astonishing brightness. Choosing the right company and the right boss is everything. Having you, Director Zhou, is a blessing for us working folks. The previously dejected young woman instantly came to life, a slightly ingratiating, yet utterly adorable, smile appeared on her round face. She had no idea. I've tasted the bitterness of online violence before, in my past life, after what happened to Song Jiejie. 9. Not long after Song Jiejie's car accident, Meng Lucy logged into her social media account to announce her death. He apologized to the fans on behalf of Song Jiejie. To all the plus ones, I'm so sorry. Jiejie can't keep her promise to dance for a lifetime. What followed was a live stream conducted in the same familiar manner. Meng Lucy broke down in tears, saying she deeply regretted ever encouraging Song Jiejie to bravely pursue love, as it wouldn't have led to the subsequent tragedy. Pressed by his fans, he accused me of being heartless and cold-blooded, condemning me for forcing Song Jian to choose between her and me. If it weren't for your pettiness and narrow-mindedness, Jiejie wouldn't have gone out late at night, and she wouldn't have gotten into that car accident. Using a tactic similar to the one in this life, Meng Lucy used records from Song Jiejie's old accounts and their chat history to accuse me of bullying her. Song Jiejie is dead, yet she continues to torment me in her own way. In the court of public opinion, the living can never compete with the dead. I was confronted with the most naked malice and judgment of human nature. Song Jiejie's fans cursed me over and over, telling me to go die. They sent me all kinds of car crash photos, demanding I witness the despair and helplessness Song Jiejie felt in that moment. Some even speculated that Song Jiejie's car accident was a sinister plot, a deliberate act of sabotage on my part because I couldn't stand the closeness between the siblings. Heartless, scheming woman, I hope she meets a terrible end. Ever since the incident with Song Jiejie, I've been consumed by guilt and remorse every single day. Would things have been better if I hadn't stumbled upon their intimate moment and hadn't forced Song Jian to make a choice? I was forced to take handfuls of medication just to stay sane and lucid. I suffered from insomnia, headaches, hair loss, and a complete lack of spirit, eventually diagnosed with severe depression. Yet, all of this seemed utterly insignificant compared to the death of a dancing prodigy. Song Baiyan got in touch with my father. Call off the engagement. Our Song family will never allow a murderer through our doors. My father groveled and offered profuse apologies. No one could have foreseen Jiejie's tragedy. If this does not appease your anger, I am willing to transfer 10% of Zhou Corporation's shares to young Mr. Song. Even after the contract was signed, the Song family remained dissatisfied. So you think money makes you special? You think throwing money at this fixes anything? Your daughter destroyed Jiejie. You're all murderers. Song Jiejie's death became the Zhou family's greatest vulnerability. Song Baiyan mocked my father and me for our hypocrisy while recklessly squandering the compensation from the Zhou family. After Song Jiejie's death, Song Jian became increasingly withdrawn, yet he would always appear at critical moments to comfort me. It was just an accident. You didn't mean for it to happen. Whenever Song Baiyan found out Song Jian was by my side, he would always call to berate him. You little bastard. Are you keeping that murderer company again? With that one sentence, he had Song Jian right where it hurt. He's got him under control, and I'm the one who gets executed. Every time, Song Jian would leave my side, filled with profound regret, leaving me to drown in a lonely, guilt-ridden current. The feeling was utterly hopeless and suffocating. I don't know how much longer I can hold on. The feeling is just unbearable. It's like a condemned prisoner waiting for execution. A quick, clean shot would be more merciful than this agonizing wait. My friends don't think I'm to blame for what happened, but there's nothing any of us can do about it. Even if Song Jiejie and Song Jian were truly having an affair, so what? Song Jiejie has already paid for it with her life. Can love truly be more important than life itself? The scales of justice tip in favor of the departed, and so, I was damned for all eternity. But this time, the circumstances were utterly different from my past life. Song Jiejie's suicide was merely a bargaining chip to leverage public opinion against the Zhou family. Baseless slander, easily refuted. If Song Jiejie wants to play the game of trial by public opinion, she'd better be prepared for the backlash. Netizens are not gullible fools who believe everything they hear. In my past life, I was the one ultimately responsible for Song Jiejia's death. This time around, I'm just a minor character caught in the crossfire of a toxic couple's messy romance. Soon after, I posted a response on my blog. Even with Song Jiejia's name scrubbed, netizens could still identify her from the color of her avatar. With solid evidence, Song Jiejia's rumors fell apart on their own. I also submitted a recording, the one from last time where Song Jiejia tried to brag to me about her ambiguous relationship with Song Jian. On top of that, there were the disgusting things Song Jian said when he came to the Zhou family to pick a fight. Soon, hashtags like hashtag real versus fake pick me girl and hashtag sympathy for the cannon fodder fiancé started trending. Amidst the overwhelming buzz, I didn't forget to slip in an ad for my own product, the ultimate tool for tragic heroines and cannon fodder supporting characters. No more fear of being wrongfully accused. High-definition electronic cameras. What are you waiting for? Order now. Netizens don't just follow emotions, they also value evidence and facts. After the clarification was posted, Song Jiejia faced a severe backlash from public opinion. Her suicide attempt was also met with skepticism, a narcissus painted white, pretending to be some exotic little lotus. After understanding the full story, it's hard not to say she brought it on herself. Knowing full well your brother has a fiancé, yet you deliberately stir up a CP buzz on social media, and your brother acts all lovey-dovey with you. The scumbag and the homewrecker deserve each other. Stay away from the classy, wealthy sister. Okay, it's not that I'm heartless, it's just all too convenient. Who goes live right before attempting suicide? And what a coincidence, getting rescued just in time, as if you're afraid people won't know you tried to kill yourself. The fiancé has already put the evidence out there. Chat logs, voice messages, the whole deal. How about you all step up and say something? Under the backlash of public opinion, Song Jiejia began to panic. The hopeless simp, Meng Lucy, was still busy clapping back at netizens. It's just a shame that Meng Lucy was no chivalrous white knight coming to her rescue. Soon after, he was exposed, with scandalous details emerging about how he used his position as Song Jiejia's assistant to sleep with fans and pressure someone into having an abortion. The Song family went radio silent. A week later, they hastily convened a press conference. 10. On the day of the interview, Song Jian looked pale, as if he had suffered a grievous blow. When the reporter brought up the matter of Song Jiejia, he let out a sigh. It's my fault, all the blame lies with me. I failed in my duty as a fiancé. In the midst of Song Jian's apology, Song Baiyan suddenly appeared, his face flushed with anger. He grabbed Song Jian by the arm. You're at fault. But is Zhou Manchu blameless? She knew she was your fiancé, yet she couldn't stay away from that chim fellow. If you want to blame someone, blame your own pride, your fear of being cuckolded. Today, I'm not afraid anymore. Even if I'm ridiculed, I'll say it. Zhou Manchu is a loose woman, unworthy of entering our Song family. Don't believe me? I have proof right here. Song Baiyan held up a stack of photos, distributing them to the reporters, putting me on public trial. Zhou Manchu, how can you stand on your moral high ground and question Jian and Jiejia, when you're the one entangled with another man? The best way to quell a scandal isn't to clarify, but to drop an even juicier one. The messy, dramatic gossip of the wealthy elite is, without a doubt, the favorite snack of online spectators. Soon, photos of me and Qing Yixing began circulating online. It was a set of misleading photos showing us in what appeared to be a kiss, with the timestamp indicating they were taken a year ago. It appears to be far earlier than the hoodie video of Song Jian and his sister. The public outcry caused a huge uproar. Alright, so I'm just a prop in your rich kid's little game, is that it? What, engaged couple? Looks more like an open relationship to me. Wow, that's some next-level rich people drama. They really know how to live it up. The Zhou family's stock price experienced minor fluctuations as a result. A single photo doesn't really count as solid evidence. However, Song Jian was quite pleased with this outcome and made a point of calling to check in. Manchu, just given a little, and we can let bygones be bygones. I'll cut all ties with Jiejia, marry into the Song family and be my wife. I didn't respond. He continued, let's both meet halfway. In my heart, you are the only one I want as my wife. On the other end of the line, Song Jian was reminiscing about the past, his words flowing without end. Song Jian and I grew up together, childhood sweethearts from the very start. In our youth, we made promises to each other. Mimicking a scene from a romantic drama, Song Jian slipped a diamond ring onto my finger and vowed to protect me for a lifetime. He stole the diamond ring from Aunt Song, and for that, he was beaten badly. In our childhood, we were innocent and carefree. It wasn't until Aunt Song passed away from illness that Song Baiyan married Song Jiejia's mother. At first, Song Jian resented Song Jiejia for stealing their father's affection, treating her coldly and playing all sorts of mean tricks on her. Later, when Song Jian was trapped in the fire, Song Jiejia's mother shielded him with her own life, entrusting her daughter to his care with her dying breath. Song Jian and Song Jiejia grew close. Back then, I only pitied Song Jiejia for losing her mother so young and took extra care of her. I never imagined that one day, I would be betrayed by the two of them, nor that I would be led by them into an abyss of utter ruin. The more Song Jian spoke of the past, the colder the smile on my lips became. Song Jian, when you leaked those photos to the press, did you even notice the date on them? What date? 11. Song Jian was stunned, left speechless. Song Jiejia had only recently given him that photo. When he saw it, he was so consumed by anger and the desire to use it against the Zhou family that he didn't examine it closely. It's nothing, just a reminder that your days of easy living are over. I gave the warning aloud, then hung up the phone. A cornered beast will often act recklessly. How could he be sure that photo wasn't a deliberate bait I'd put out there? I went live just as the public debate involving me, Song Jian, Song Jiejia, and Qing Yixing reached its peak. I'm sorry to take up your precious time, everyone, but I believe this matter ultimately needs to be addressed. Sitting beside me, Qing Yixing remarked with a hint of teasing, you know what? This person's got some real skill with a candid shot. It's got great atmosphere, could be a magazine cover. A wave of outraged users flooded into the live stream, whether they were genuinely angry or just paid trolls. They started spamming the chat with *husband and wife. They were carrying on as if they'd been the ones cheated on. I held the photo up to the camera. The date on this photo is June 17, 22, exactly 1 year ago. It might sound like an ordinary date, but Song Jian, you wouldn't have forgotten, would you? I didn't know if Song Jian was watching the live stream, but it didn't stop me from continuing. June 17, 22, was the 3rd anniversary of when Song Jian and I officially started dating, 1 month before the anniversary. The Song group's cash flow ran into trouble. For that entire month, we worked around the clock, scrambling to secure investments and sponsorships from all corners. We lived in a state of complete disarray, working odd hours and often skipping meals. Our perseverance paid off. We finally found the right investor, and the crisis was averted. Song Jian excitedly grabbed my hand, saying he had a surprise in store for me. What a shame, I waited from morning till night. But that promised surprise never came. Instead, I fainted unexpectedly while working. If Qing Yixing hadn't visited just in time and rushed me to the hospital, I could have fallen from the 2nd floor and been crippled. Does Song Jian know about this? Probably not, because at that moment, he was called away by a phone call from Song Jiejia. He said Song Jiejia had a persistent high fever and couldn't be left alone, as if afraid of putting me in an awkward position. He thoughtfully had his secretary deliver 999 red roses to my door. I looked at the camera with a sneer. This photo was taken right at that moment. I'm genuinely curious, how could anyone see a life or death situation as something ambiguous or suggestive? Because of my livestream, viewers started to feel sympathy and affection for me. Others questioned whether I was just putting on a show. Don't believe me? That's fine, the surveillance footage captured everything clearly when it happened. Zhou Security's cloud storage happens to have the video from that day. I posted the video online, which captured the moment I fainted. Some netizens even questioned, even if what you're saying is true, who's to say you didn't see the surveillance footage and stage it on purpose? Who can guarantee there's nothing going on between you and Qing Yixing? I can guarantee it. Qing Yixing winked at the camera. Brother, really? Sister is seriously ill and in the hospital, and you still doubt her? Not like me. I only know how to feel sorry for her. The voice, unlike the boyish appearance, was an exceptionally clear and pleasant female voice. When Song Jian questioned me, I swore to him without batting an eye, because Qing Yixing is my cousin, my aunt's adopted daughter. She's well developed, standing at 180 centimeters tall, and with her usual preference for androgynous fashion, she's often been mistaken for a boy. At the end of the livestream, Qing Yixing, never one to shy away from stirring the pot, deliberately put on airs and imitated Song Jiejia's tone. Your sister is so close with me, I hope Big Brother isn't getting jealous. After the live stream ended, Qing Yixing hooked a finger under my chin. Hey, I helped you out this much, give me a smile. Just as he was speaking, the secretary's voice chimed in from the side. Mr. Song, you can't just barge into the boss's office. Song Jian pushed the door open and saw me pinning Qing Yixing down. I straightened my clothes and stood up calmly. Who said you could come in? Zhou Manchu. Why didn't you tell me Qing Yixing's gender? Was it fun, tricking me like that? I couldn't help but let out a scornful laugh. How interesting. But let me correct you on one point. I told you long ago that I have a very close cousin who's often mistaken for a boy. It's just that you were too busy taking care of Song Jiejie back then to spare a single thought for anything else. In my past life, before Song Jiejie's accident, I realized Song Jian's indifference towards me and deliberately concealed Qing Yixing's identity. At that time, I still had feelings for Song Jian and, rather childishly, wanted to use Qing Yixing to make him jealous. It wasn't until I had the accident, when Qing Yixing risked his life to protect me, that Song Jian finally learned his true identity at the hospital. Even though he knew she was a woman, Song Jian still let the media smear us, insinuating we had an improper affair. Meanwhile, he put on a show of being the devoted partner right in front of the cameras. Just thinking about it makes me sick. Song Jian looked up, dazed. How could this be? Because in your heart, Song Jiejie is everything. You've never truly cared for anyone else. Song Jian, you're a coward. Even Song Jiejie had the courage to express her feelings, but you, worried about your reputation, held back. Song Jiejie had, at some point, run to the office and overheard our conversation. She grabbed Song Jian's hand. Brother, let's go home. Get away from me. Don't touch me. Song Jian stumbled out of the room. Seeing this, Song Jiejie hurried after him. Before leaving, Song Jiejie made sure to give me a final, defiant look. At least you know your place. I could always tell you weren't good enough for my brother. Qing Yixing was seething, his fists clenched with the urge to hit someone. If Song Jiejie had run any slower, she would have ended up with a black eye. Given how things have escalated, it's only natural that the Zhou family's official website announced the engagement's cancellation. After the news broke, Song Jian nearly blew up my phone with calls. Zhou Manchu, how can you be so heartless? 12. Heartless. Listening to Song Jian's accusations against me, I couldn't help but laugh. If he knew I had snatched away half of the Song family's business, I wonder what choice words he'd use to curse me. Thanks to Song Jian, Zhou Corporation's smart surveillance sales have skyrocketed. I saw Song Jian again 2 weeks later. His face was stony as we went head-to-head in a fierce business battle over a project. Gossipy colleagues couldn't help but tease. Who would have thought we'd ever see President Zhou and President Song at each other's throats? Well, all's fair in love and war, especially in business. Besides, Mr. Song seems far more suited to whispering sweet nothings to a beauty than closing a deal. Song Jian heard my taunt, a flash of cold anger in his eyes, but that was all. In the end, I was the one who landed the project. After the event ended, Song Jian walked up to me. Zhou Manchu, you are utterly shameless. Thank you for the compliment. I gave a slight, mocking bow with my hands clasped. Just then, Song Jian and I ran into the project lead. The person said, not without a hint of regret, we had high hopes for you, Mr. Song. It's a shame the whole choosing love over business affair blew up so publicly. In commerce, one must remain level-headed. Song Jian's expression shifted slightly. I couldn't help but laugh. The story about that brother and sister duo has been making the rounds in the business world for ages. Just to make sure everyone knew, I specifically asked Qing Yixing to mobilize her gossip squad to spread the word for me. In the business world, who isn't a shrewd operator, who would want to partner with someone so impulsive and ruled by emotion? As project after project failed, the Song family finally grasped the severity of the situation and began seeking remedies. What I didn't expect was that the first step in their damage control wasn't a bold business maneuver, but having Song Jiejie sent abroad. A decade of indulgence had long since inflated Song Jiejie's ego to the heavens. She broke free from her bodyguards and stormed into the company like a madwoman, hell-bent on causing a scene. Zhou Manchu, was it you who's been bad-mouthing me to my brother and my dad? She stormed in, shouting. Unfortunately, the moment her left foot crossed the company threshold, security was already throwing her right foot back out. The security guards formed 2 tight lines, blocking her way completely. No matter how much Song Jiejie tried to act cute, play the coquette, or even throw a tantrum, it was all useless. Listen, you lunatic, every time you barge in here and disturb President Zhou, our pay gets docked by 500. What's more important, money or our dignity? We're not idiots. Ever since Song Jiejie forced her way in last time, I gave the order to the head of security to put her on the blacklist. Song Jiejie returned empty-handed. 13. In the blink of an eye, It was New Year's Eve. My father was completely wasted. A faint blush also colored my aunt's cheeks. Ching Yixing and I raised our glasses in celebration, a toast to freedom, a toast to ourselves. The Zhou family business was thriving and flourishing. Song Jian, however, kept hitting walls and was having a truly dismal time. According to Ching Yixing, Song Jiejia's determination to be with Song Jian sent Song Baiyan into such a rage that he suffered a stroke, leaving him partially paralyzed. Song Jian was a far cry from the confident, ambitious man he once was. When I saw him at the cocktail party, he was wearing a rumpled suit, looked utterly dejected, and had visibly lost a lot of weight. He trailed awkwardly behind a female executive, looking like nothing more than a plaything for her amusement. Song Jiejia burst onto the scene like a madwoman, drenching the female boss. She bared her teeth like a vicious little beast. "Stay away from my brother." Her words were brazen, yet she failed to grasp the situation. The female boss gave a cold sneer, turned on her heel, and walked away. Song Jiejia, her heart aching, rushed over to Song Jian, only to be shoved aside by him. Song Jian knew it then, he could never re-enter that circle. When her aunt found out about this, she couldn't help but mock him. He who hesitates is lost. Song Jian is far too indecisive. Who in their right mind thought it was a good idea to arrange a marriage between him and Manchu? My old man flushed with embarrassment. Ah, hell, I was dead drunk back then, completely taken in by that two-faced bastard Song Baiyan. 14. My dad was rubbing his hands together, eager for a chance to wipe that smug look off Song Baiyan's face. Unfortunately, that chance never came. On the day of the Lantern Festival, an obituary arrived from the Song family. Song Baiyan was dead. Rumor has it he choked to death on his own vomit while eating porridge. What a tragic and lamentable way to die. After Song Baiyan's death, Song Jian agreed to a marriage alliance with the Xia family's simple-minded daughter. However, on the very day of the engagement, Song Jiejia attempted suicide. In a fit of rage, the Xia family called off the marriage. The Song family was already on its last legs, and after offending the Xia family, they faced relentless suppression. Song Jian was swamped and completely overwhelmed. No one could have predicted the downfall of a business empire that was on the verge of a meteoric rise. Song Jiejia was admitted to a psychiatric hospital for electroconvulsive therapy due to her mental instability. Later, it was said that Song Jiejia escaped from the psychiatric hospital, found Song Jian, and stabbed him 16 times. Covered in blood, Song Jiejia was taken to the police station by a kind passerby and spent the rest of his life in prison. Song Jian survived the ordeal but ended up in a vegetative state in the hospital. Ching Yixing sighed with deep emotion. 16 stabs and he still didn't die. He's a tough one to kill. No wonder the wicked live 1,000 years. On the day of the first snow, I went to the hospital to visit Song Jian, where a caregiver was attending to him. Song Jian's days were neither good nor bad. I just never expected that the caregiver would turn out to be an abuser. Fortunately, I discovered it by chance and had the person sent to the police station. I did everything in my power to keep Song Jian alive. Everyone who meets me says I have a kind heart. I gave a shy smile. After all, we were childhood sweethearts once upon a time. When we were alone, I leaned close to his ear, just as he had done to me in a past life. Song Jian, don't you dare seek death. You must live and suffer. 1,000 times more than I ever did. A single, clear tear traced a path from the corner of Song Jian's eye. He was most likely filled with regret. What a shame, it's too late now. The end. Story 2. The third year of marriage to my childhood sweetheart, I stumbled upon a post he'd written years ago. In that post, he wrote about being forced apart from his true love and reluctantly marrying the girl next door, his childhood friend. And that girl happened to be me. The obstacle standing between the male and female leads in a tragic love story. 1. The farce unfolded when I went to the company to find Zhou Mu. The moment the elevator doors opened, shouts mingled with the sounds of physical blows. It was Zhou Mu's mother's voice. "Zhou Mu is already married. Why did you come back? Your mother stole Zhou Mu's father, and now you're back to steal my son, you shameless bitch." It was the first time I'd ever seen Aunt Song, who'd always been the picture of grace and composure, in such a hysterical state. Zhou Mu shielded the person in his arms with desperate determination, as if protecting some priceless treasure. I opened my mouth to call out to him, "Zhou." Someone suddenly shoved me. My arm slammed into the table corner, cutting off my words with a pained cry. "Ah!" Zhou Mu turned to look at me, quickly pushing away the person in his arms as if about to come help, but the next instant, he saw Aunt Song casually grab a potted succulent. Without hesitation, He spun around and shielded that girl again. The flower pot landed squarely on his head. The moment blood began dripping from Zhou Mu's head, the surrounding noise erupted instantly. I heard Aunt Song calling his name with heartache. Xiao Mu, the girl in his arms asked with a trembling voice. Are you okay, AMU? Then came Zhou Mu's whisper, soft as a sigh. As long as you're alright, too. The farce ended with Zhou Mu being knocked unconscious and hospitalized. Before leaving, he held my hand and finally just murmured softly, Xiao Jin. Aunt Song said she'd explain everything at home, urging me to visit Zhou Mu at the hospital first. Evening had already fallen. When I arrived, Zhou Mu's friend Qingji was standing outside the hospital room. The moment he saw me, his lips parted to speak, but I clamped down on his wrist like a vice. A sharp gasp sealed his lips. The hospital door stood ajar. I heard it. A woman's coquettish voice came from inside. Just take one bite. I learned this especially for you. Zhou Mu lowered his gaze with a soft sigh. Vivi, you don't have to. Before she could finish speaking, the young girl's eyes were already glistening with tears, utterly heartbreaking. Zhou Mu fell silent and obediently swallowed the porridge she'd scooped for him. I didn't miss the fleeting pain that crossed his face. Ouch, that's hot. Vivi doesn't seem like the nurturing type. Qingji tugged at my sleeve with his other hand, his eyes drooping pitifully. I released my grip on his wrist, where an angry red mark had already formed. I'm sorry, it's alright, sis. I mean, she's Brother Mu's. I know. He froze for a moment, words still hanging on his lips. The voices in the ward suddenly grew louder. Qinwei seemed to be crying, because I can't stop worrying about you. You got hurt protecting me. Don't I even have the right to care about you, AMU? But we loved each other so much. The rustle of fabric filled the room as Zhou Mu seemed to pull her into an embrace. The voices in the hospital room dropped again to lovers' whispers. Sis-in-law, Qingji called my name again, his voice trembling slightly. Stop crying. As I touched my cheeks, hot tears came streaming down. How embarrassing. I lowered my head, hiding my tearful eyes. I'll take my leave first. I had a whirlwind marriage with Zhou Mu 3 years ago. Back then, I had just returned home after completing my studies, and my parents threw a welcome dinner for me. Zhou Mu came to pick me up in his car. The ambient music playing in the car did little to ease the awkwardness between us after 3 years apart, and there was that nervous flutter of being alone with someone I'd secretly loved for years. We made small talk along the way, just as we were about to get out. The seatbelt suddenly got stuck. I fumbled in panic. Zhou Mu chuckled and leaned over to release it for me. A faint sandalwood scent lingered around me. My body froze in place. When Zhou Mu looked up and saw me, he reached out to ruffle my hair. After all these years apart, why so distant? Didn't you say you wanted to marry me when we were kids? Zhou Mu rarely makes jokes like this. My face burned crimson, my heart pounding wildly against my ribs. This surreal feeling lingered throughout the banquet. Holding flowers, he confessed to me in front of both our parents. Beneath the dazzling array of lights, the young man I've cherished in my heart for over a decade has sparkling eyes, his gentle smile crinkling at the corners. I've finally waited for your return, Xiao Jin. Countless dreams I had as a girl, just like that, they came true. Back then I thought, I must be the happiest person in the whole wide world. Married life was quite sweet. Zhou Mu was exceptionally attentive. Brown sugar tea during my period, constant care when I was ill, and thoughtful attention in daily life. All I could think was how wonderfully he treated me. I should treat him better too. Only later did I realize that gentle temperament was something he painstakingly developed for Qinwei. Had my friend not stumbled upon and shared that post with me, I might remain in the dark for the rest of my life. I've fallen for my father's mistress's daughter. What should I do? I know I shouldn't, but I can't help how I feel. 6. She's adorable, like a child, always clinging to me, acting spoiled, saying she wants to be with me forever. Mom found out about us and doesn't approve of our relationship. My mom threatened to kill herself to force W and me to break up. I don't want to hurt my mother, but I can't bear to see W heartbroken either. Are you out of your mind? OP, how heartbroken your mother must be. Stand with OP, why separate when you're in love? My mom pushed me too far. She held a knife to me and demanded, choose between W or your own mother. At that moment, it suddenly hit me how much older Mom looked. I can't let my mother down. What about W then? Didn't you promise to stay with her forever? Don't break Mom's heart again. W and I broke up. My mom's still worried. She keeps pushing me to get married soon. The girl next door I grew up with is coming back from studying abroad. Her mom often says she really likes me. My mom told me to hurry up and get married. I proposed to my childhood sweetheart. OP, what are you doing? Another person you've wronged. OP, W, what should we do? She's the one you've wronged the most. Don't be. Sobbing, this thread ultimately concluded with the blogger's response to a question. He said he got married today, he'll be someone else's husband soon. Someone asked him, what about W? Do you still love him? He said, yes. The timestamp of that response was 10:15 a.m. on July 14, 20XX. That was the day of my wedding with Zhou Mu. 10 in the morning, I sat in the room, dressed in exquisite bridal attire with flawless makeup. My best friend stood by the door, waiting to block the groom's entrance. At that moment, I was thinking, resource group pushpin WeChat, QQ number 179-732-8031. I'm about to marry the man I've loved for 10 years, how wonderful. Zhou Mu didn't come back until very late that night. By the time I finished reading the post, tears were streaming down my face. The air in the room suddenly felt thin and suffocating. I can't catch my breath. I need some fresh air in the garden downstairs, amidst the swaying tree shadows. That distant figure looks so familiar. 7. Zhou Mu stood under the streetlight as Chen Wei looked up at him, their bodies nearly touching as they spoke. Wei, we can't keep doing this. I'm already married. She's such a wonderful person. I can't let her down. The amber glow of streetlights fell on Chen Wei's face, softening her features. She looked on the verge of tears, yet put on a brave face, fighting to keep them at bay. I know. It's because I can't forget you that I wanted to come back. Just being able to see you every day at your company is more than enough for me. I shouldn't have been so greedy. AMU, I'll keep myself in check. The last sentence came out completely garbled. The moment Chen Wei's tears fell, I saw the unmistakable pain in Zhou Mu's eyes with crystal clarity. Before he even realized it, he had already pulled Chen Wei into his arms to comfort her. So familiar, because when I cried, he'd held me like this many times before. Gently wiping away my tears before comforting me, Zhou Mu always sends me gifts after every heartache. Just like a child, I'd always say, you don't have to next time. He would just hold me, smiling tenderly. I'd do anything to see Xiao Jin happy. The wind howled in my ears, yet I heard with painful clarity the sound of my heart breaking. That day, from barely restraining the urge to confront Zhou Mu immediately, to breaking down in solitary tears, then finally, calmly choosing a different path. Let them be in love. Since when does life work that way? I left the hospital but didn't go home. Instead, I drove to my parents' place. Mom paused for a second when she opened the door, then broke into a smile. What brings you home all of a sudden? I forced a faint smile. Just missed you guys. Mom glanced behind me. Where's Zhou Mu? Didn't he come with you? He's hospitalized. Hospitalized. What happened? Just bumped my head. The doctor said it's nothing serious. I left out the part about Aunt Song. Why aren't you keeping him company? Mom flashed a knowing smile. 8. She's always been perceptive. She clearly saw through my crush on Zhou Mu but played dumb, while subtly promoting me to him. Xiao Jin, after all these years of secret pining, you've finally gotten your wish. Make sure to hold on to this happiness tight. Not at all. Far from getting what I wanted. I just found out too, what I thought was luck. Zhou Mu only married her as a consolation prize when he couldn't wed his true love. I've adored Zhou Mu since childhood. My parents were always busy. Whenever Zhou Mu found me waiting alone at the doorstep after school, he'd always take me home with him, help me with homework or watch anime with me. My parents never came home that night, no matter how late it got. I fell asleep in Zhou Mu's room while reading manga, only to be jolted awake by thunder rumbling outside and lightning splitting the sky. I'd had a nightmare, and the thunder startled me all over again, wailing for Mom and Dad. Zhou Mu rushed in from the next room, losing a slipper in his haste. Xiao Jin, with tears and snot smeared across my face. Zhou Mu couldn't help but laugh. He grabbed a wet wipe and gently cleaned my face while comforting me. It's okay now. It's okay. It was just a dream. But the more he tried to soothe me, the harder my tears fell. Exhausted from crying, I drifted into a hazy sleep. My grip on Zhou Mu's hand never loosened. All I remember is him standing by the bed, promising to stay with me. Will you stay with me forever? I will. Will you stay with me forever and ever? I will. Deep down I always knew words spoken so lightly can't be trusted. If only emotions could be controlled, I wouldn't have loved him so desperately all these years. I stopped visiting Zhou Mu at the hospital. When he asked, I simply said I'd gone back to my parents' place. Owner's exclusive ID pushpin WeChat, Q*Q number 179-732-8031. Zhou Mu's head injury wasn't serious. he was discharged from the hospital within days. It happened to be New Year's Day when he drove over to take me home for dinner. Standing by the doorway, slender as bamboo, her eyes lit up with a smile when she saw me, gentle, just like the old days. Xiao Jin, you look absolutely lovely today. Zhou never held back his words of praise for me. I used to feel embarrassed, but hearing it more often actually made me grow more confident, and the more I grew to like him, I lowered my gaze to avoid his eyes. Let's go. 9. Zhou froze for a moment, then he politely said goodbye to my parents. Once Aunt Song calmed down, she returned to being the gentle elder we knew. She didn't want to talk about what happened that day, and I pretended to have forgotten it too. Her face lit up when she saw me, taking my hand in hers. Xiao Jin, I bought you some necklaces and bracelets, come try them on. Let the men handle the kitchen work. Zhou hung my coat on the rack and smiled at me. You keep mom company. The jewelry Aunt Song bought sparkled brilliantly, almost dazzling under the light. She helped me try on each piece, praising every one. It suits you perfectly. By the time we finished trying the last piece, dinner was ready. The dinner table was filled with warmth and joy. It felt like being coated in a layer of grease. Everyone's hiding something. The instant the knock came at the door, I beat Zhou to it and opened the door. The unexpected visitor standing at the door, it was Chen Wei, Group Admin's exclusive WeChat ID, QQ number 1797328031. Chen Wei seemed to be in a hurry, with beads of sweat glistening at her temples. In the moment I stood frozen, Zhou had already approached. Xiao Jin. Zhou. The instant Chen Wei spotted Zhou behind me, her tears began to fall. Where have you been? You left the hospital without telling me. Do you have any idea how worried I was? I turned to look at Zhou. He maintained a composed facade, clearing his throat lightly. Zhou, I said, meeting his gaze. Who is she? Zhou remained silent. Chen Wei pushed me aside and rushed toward him in a panic. The in-laws at the dining table also spotted Chen Wei. I saw Aunt Song's expression change instantly. Uncle Zhou sitting beside her suddenly gripped her shoulder. This is my friend's daughter. Used to be good friends with Xiao. 10. Is that so? I smiled. Zhou and I grew up together since childhood. I don't think I've met her before. We met during those years you were abroad. I smiled without calling out his lie. Since you're here, you might as well join us for dinner. Uncle Zhou added another bowl of rice and pulled up a chair for Chen Wei. What should have been a family reunion was unexpectedly interrupted by an outsider. Chen Wei sat beside Zhou, right in front of Auntie Song. She kept serving him food with intimate gestures. Just as she was about to place another chopstick full of mushrooms into Zhou's bowl, I intercepted. He doesn't like this. I looked at Chen Wei with a calm expression, casually taking the carrot she'd originally picked for Zhou. He's allergic to carrots. Chen Wei's smile froze instantly. The atmosphere instantly froze. It's fine. Zhou suddenly spoke up, breaking the awkward silence, as if to show he truly didn't mind. He even served Wei Chen a piece of poached shrimp, what was mentioned in that post, W's favorite food. Chen Wei's embarrassment vanished, replaced by delight. You still remember my favorite. Zhou suddenly seemed to realize something and served me a portion too. Xiao Jin, try this, it's delicious. But I don't care for it. I prefer salt and pepper seasoning, braised dishes, and barbecue. The only thing I dislike is plain boiled seafood. I watched Chen Wei dip the shrimp in sauce and take a blissful bite, her face glowing with happiness. It suddenly hit me, those who are favored always act with fearless confidence. Just like Zhou treats Chen Wei, just like how I felt about Zhou, the food in my mouth suddenly lost all flavor, and even the sight of other dishes turned my stomach. I set down my chopsticks. I've got other plans tonight. I should head out. Where to? Need a ride? Zhou asked. I looked at him, but out of the corner of my eye, I saw Chen Wei's hand slowly covering his under the table. No need. I stood up and left without another word. I made a call and asked my friend out for drinks. Halfway through, with bleary eyes, Zhao propped her chin and asked me, "What's wrong? Anything bothering you lately?" I kept silent, downing one glass after another. A thriving career, fair complexion and striking looks, married to your longtime crush, life couldn't be more harmonious. Xiao Jin, with all these blessings, if not the ultimate winner in life, you're certainly heaven's favorite. What on earth could still trouble you? I can't bring myself to say it. Zhao didn't press further, just kept me company drinking in silence. Backup account pushpin WeChat. QQ 179732*8031. I was hugging the toilet vomiting twice, completely blackout drunk. Oblivious to everything, Zhao dialed Zhou's number, When Zhou came to pick me up at the bar, I stood frozen like a statue under the street lamp by the entrance, but the moment I saw him, tears started rolling down my cheeks. Zhou paused for a second before fishing tissues from his pocket. I didn't pull away when he wiped my tears, just kept staring at him blankly. You look just like someone I adore. Zhou chuckled. Oh, what's their name, Zhou? His face lit up like a night blooming Sirius in full splendor. My head spun as I looked at him. The urge to pour my heart out was overwhelming. 11, you know what? I've liked him forever, like forever and ever. Just didn't have the courage to tell him. How long is a long time? What year is it now? Zhou gave a number. I counted on my fingers, pondered and recalculated over and over until it finally made sense. 10 years, the overhead light cast down, rendering Zhou's tousled hair almost translucent, that beautiful face froze in stunned silence. Don't you believe me? He shook his head, fuming. I grabbed my phone to unlock my private photo album. The alcohol was still buzzing in my system. I fumbled through several typos before finally accessing it. The security question I'd set years ago. The person I like is, those silly teenage years. I typed 2 letters. Zhou's youthful face appeared before us. Take a look at this. I tapped on one. I found this on the school's official website. The photo captured Zhou sprinting the final stretch of the marathon. I zoomed in on the photo and spotted myself being jostled in the crowd. He joined the marathon, and I wanted to bring him water, but the crowd was overwhelming. I couldn't push through. In the end, I never handed him the water, just watched him take a bottle from another girl. That moment actually hit me pretty hard, luckily. I later stumbled upon this photo while browsing the official website, though I never got to give her the water. At least we shared the frame. I chuckled, remembering how I'd foolishly clutched that bottle all day without letting go. It's like buying your favorite cake with pure joy, only to find it squished when you got home. Felt down all day, but seeing this photo on the official site instantly recharged me. At least I was captured in the moment of his victory. And this one. I found this in my mom's photo album. Zhou came to celebrate my 10th birthday with me. We held hands and performed for the adults. Zhou wore a little suit while I had on a pretty puffy dress. Standing side by side, they looked every bit the perfect couple. Later I used this photo as my moments cover. All my friends said I looked adorable when they saw it. I keep wondering, what would happen if he sees it someday? Should I lie and say it's because the photo is adorable, or just confess outright, because I wanted you to notice, because I like you? But he didn't. He never noticed. Resource group Pushpin B Red Heart, QQ number 1797328031. A decade feels like an eternity. These trivial memories I've held on to for so long remain crystal clear. There's no end to the stories. Until my throat ran dry from talking, no words could ever fully capture my decade-long secret love. When the story ended, the man before me suddenly pulled me into his embrace. Zhou's arms radiated warmth. Through the fabric, I felt not just his body heat, but the wild pounding of his heart and his unsteady emotions. He held me so tight I could barely breathe, yet his hands trembled slightly. I love you. His warm breath grazed my ear, carrying a husky undertone. Xiao, I love you too. Zhou held me in his arms. The tear stains on my face had long dried, and the cold wind sobered me up considerably. I looked up at the blinding white light overhead, for what felt like an eternity. Finally, I whispered, liar. Zhou, you damn liar. Woke up with a splitting headache. Zhou appeared at the bedroom door upon hearing the noise. Xiao, I made you hangover soup, rubbing my temples. I agreed, when I sat down at the table after washing up. Breakfast and hangover soup were already laid out. I downed the soup in one gulp, only then noticing the candy he'd placed beside it. Xiao, Zhou came downstairs, smiling at me with his tie in hand. I paused for a moment before taking it and tying it for him. Seizing the chance, Zhou leaned down to plant a kiss on my forehead, murmuring sweetly in my ear, wait for me to come back, just like when we first got married. Before I could snap out of my daze, Zhou had already left. Not long after he left, an unknown number called. I answered the call. The voice on the other end sounded familiar. It's Chenwei. She asked to meet me. On my way there, I imagined countless ways Chenwei might start the conversation, like some dramatic novel scene where she triumphantly declares, he only loves me, like arrogantly demanding that I withdraw on my own. But none of that happened. Chenwei arrived earlier than me, greeted me when we met, and then told me her story with Zhou. Zhou and I were together for 2 years, and he was always good to me. I've always known who he really was. I envied him as a child. He had such a perfect family with parents who adored him. My mother never cared about me until she met Uncle Joe. Sometimes when he visited, he'd bring me little presents, but I knew it was only because he loved my mother. Until I got together with Joe Moo. He takes care of people. Worries whether I'm eating well or sleeping soundly. Tells me it's okay, he's here, and helps me solve every problem. He felt like a gift from heaven after witnessing all those years I'd been neglected. 12. I thought we'd be together forever too, until his mother found out. She threatened suicide to force Joe Moo to leave me. Chinwei paused, her voice suddenly trembling with emotion. He gave up on me. Her gaze shifted to me, her voice suddenly thick with sorrow. Please give him back to me. I'm begging you. I truly love him. I really do. Her tears fell heavily onto the table. She was clearly sobbing uncontrollably, yet she still carried the proud air of someone cherished. I remained silent, pressing a hand to her chest. She realized the ache wasn't as sharp as before. Why don't you tell Joe Moo? Make him get divorced. Make him choose you. Chinwei froze, tears trembling on her lashes like dewdrops refusing to fall. I don't want to put him in a difficult position, I chuckled, gazing at her with calm eyes. Do you truly love Joe Moo? Absolutely, her reply was resolute. I smiled wryly. Then tell me, what's Joe Moo's favorite food? Chinwei froze, her lips parting and closing soundlessly. If they truly loved each other so deeply, why would one waver endlessly while the other remained completely oblivious? Perhaps my laughter was too unrestrained. Chinwei flushed with a mix of embarrassment and anger, her previously delicate expression hardening instantly. Song Jin, if you insist on this, don't blame me for what happens next. He'll never get over me. 13. Chinwei is a woman of action. Joe Moo came home late after work. He carried that same peachy scent I'd noticed on Chinwei earlier. I curled up on the couch watching anime when Joe Moo changed shoes and came over to hug me. I dodged his embrace. The show happened to reach the scene where the female lead confessed, but the male lead hesitated, prompting her to demand whether he truly loved her. I looked at Joe Moo. His slightly lowered eyes held only my reflection. Just like when I was a kid after school, he'd stay with me doing homework and watching anime. Joe Moo, I said earnestly, I've always believed that if I ever marry, it must be with someone I truly love. Joe Moo chuckled, bending down to scoop me up from the couch. He gazed up at me with reverent eyes. Xiao Jin, I've already married the love of my life. I lowered my gaze. Backup account pushpin WeChat. QQ number 179 by 732 by 8031. Lying. 14. Chinwei never left my world. Despite Joe Moo's efforts to maintain a facade of calm, she kept pushing the boundaries. Joe Moo's phone rang in the dead of night. I was jolted awake from my drowsy state. When I opened my eyes, I saw Joe Moo hurriedly getting dressed. Noticing I was awake, he looked apologetic. Sorry Xiao Jin, I didn't mean to wake you. There's an emergency I need to attend to. Go back to sleep. I nodded, watching wide-eyed from bed as he disappeared through the doorway. The door downstairs slammed shut, wide awake now. Truth is, I heard it, Chinwei's voice, whimpering weakly on the other end. She sobbed about someone knocking on her door and windows. I'm so scared, AMU. Could you come keep me company, alone like this? I'm terrified someone might try to. Even a child knows that. Call the police when in trouble. Yet she chose to seek another woman's husband. 15. On the day the weather forecast predicted this year's first snowfall, Joe Moo and I had originally planned to have dinner together. When I went to his office at noon, he seemed hesitant to speak. Joe Moo, an old friend of mine, is returning from abroad today. We haven't seen each other in years. I might not be able to make it tonight. No worries. Joe Moo smiled, but I could see what looked like relief flash across his face. Then I'll pick you up tonight. Where are you guys heading? I gave him an address. Joe Moo nodded. The restaurant I went to was at the central square downtown. Our table was by the floor-to-ceiling windows, with a pianist playing in the lobby, the notes flowing like a babbling brook, though we hadn't seen each other for years. Chengzi and I picked up right where we left off. We chatted nonstop throughout the meal. Snow began to fall as evening approached. Flake after flake drifted down. Chengzi exclaimed with delighted surprise, just returned home and already catching the first snow. I must be the luckiest. I smiled and glanced across the square. The downtown streets were bustling with pedestrians, including several couples walking hand in hand. Amid the swirling snowflakes, a bold girl leaned in to kiss her boyfriend. I was watching, then suddenly froze. The restaurant's heating was turned up high, yet I felt like I'd been plunged into an ice cellar, my whole body rigid. What's wrong? Chengzi followed my gaze. When she spotted the kissing couple, understanding dawned on her face as she broke into a smile. They say couples who kiss during the first snowfall will stay happy forever. Xiaoqin, missing your husband. Thanks for keeping me company during such a romantic moment. I spaced out for a while. Watching the intimate couple finally part ways, walking hand in hand down the snow-covered street, after a long pause, I finally said, "That's my husband." 16. Zhou texted me while I was on the plane. I only saw it after landing. My phone is flooded with missed calls and unread messages. Doing the math, it must be the middle of the night back home. It's always been like this. He gets worried when he can't reach me. I applied for this business trip last minute. Put in the request right after saying goodbye to Qingzi, didn't even have time to pack properly, won't be back for at least 10 days, maybe 2 weeks. I replied to Zhou to let him know I'm traveling for work. The reply came instantly, good to hear, come back soon. Chenwei was even quicker than I'd expected. The message came through almost the next day. It was a mirror selfie of her wrapped in a towel. It was our home bathroom. I instantly hit save. She immediately took it back. Save your breath. I won't file for divorce, try your luck with Zhou instead. 17. By the time the project wrapped up, over half a month had passed. My daily routine gradually returned to normal. Zhou came to pick me up at the airport when I returned home. After just a couple weeks apart, an invisible wall seemed to have grown between us. He kept talking the whole way while I only responded half-heartedly. My eyes remained glued to the phone screen as I replied to my colleague, Xiaojin. Is everything alright? You seem different lately. I was about to speak when his phone suddenly rang. He must have accidentally hit the speaker button. The moment the call connected, Chenwei's voice came through crystal clear in the confined space of the car, calling Zhou name in a drunken, slurred voice. Xiao, I think I drank too much at the bar. Could you come pick me up? My head's spinning and my legs feel weak. People keep staring at me. When I looked up, I saw Zhou watching me through the rearview mirror. His expression was tense. Sorry, go ahead. I cut off his unspoken refusal. Our eyes met in the mirror, my expression calm. Xiaojin, she's. Zhou rushed to explain. I know, your friend's daughter. I opened the car door and stepped out. I need to go back to the office. You go pick her up. Zhou returned sooner than I expected. I'd just finished moving everything from the master bedroom to the guest room. Xiaojin. I'll come right back after seeing her off. What are you? After putting down the last item in my hands, I finally answered him, let's sleep in separate rooms. I've been having trouble sleeping lately, maybe we should sleep apart from now on. 18. My workload has increased, and I'm always coming home late. Zhou would wait for me, keeping the lights on until I got home. The moment I stepped inside, he'd ask, hungry? Want some midnight snacks? Owner's exclusive contact pushpin WeChat, QQ #797328803. I shook my head, walked straight past him into the room, didn't even stop to chat. I could feel Zhou gaze burning into my back, full of confusion and inexplicable hurt, but I couldn't spare another thought about him and Chenwei. This state of affairs lasted until Zhou and I returned from the banquet. I mingled through the crowd with my arm linked in his. Thanks to Zhou, I connected with several potential major clients. Backup account pushpin WeChat. Q*Q number 1797332*8031. Zhou introduced me by saying, this is my beloved. Others would compliment how well matched we were, and I'd just lean lightly against Zhou's shoulder with a shy smile. You two look so deeply in love. I just smiled. The moment we got in the car after the banquet, I immediately let go of Zhou's hand. He looked momentarily confused, his arm still frozen in the position where I'd been holding it. He froze in place, looking at me. Xiaojin, his voice trailed off when he saw my calm, indifferent expression. Exhausted, I leaned against the rear window. Why, won't you sit in the front seat anymore? Rubbing my temples, I gave a half-hearted reply, not sitting. We remained silent the whole way home. I changed my shoes and headed to my room. Xiaojin, is your insomnia any better? I answered without turning around, no. Then suddenly, someone grabbed my hand. Zhou's grip was vice-like, his fingertips trembling with the strain. Xiaojin, tell me. Just tell me what's wrong, please. Why do we sleep in separate rooms the moment you return? Why do you come home later each night? Why do you pretend to be affectionate in public, yet refuse to speak to me at home? Why? It's like you don't love me anymore. Let go, I said calmly. Zhou released his grip. A large red patch had formed around the wrist bone. I massaged it gently, and the pain eased slightly. Don't you have anything to confess? I met Moo's gaze from last week and shot back the question. I stared into his eyes for a long moment. For example, they say if you kiss someone you love during the first snow, you'll be happy forever. Zhou Mu's face turned deathly pale, his back slowly curling inward. After what felt like an eternity, he finally whispered, "You saw everything." Chen Wei picked the most conspicuous spot. It was impossible to miss. I forced a smile that looked more like a grimace. "Zhou Mu. That night when I was drunk, I told you I'd loved you for 10 years, when you finally held me and said you loved me, was it the same feeling as 2 years ago, when you replied to that post saying you loved Chen Wei?" "It's different," he blurted out anxiously, trying to explain himself. I smiled, slammed the bedroom door shut, stopped listening to him. I stopped needing answers long ago. Zhou Mu, 19, I didn't divorce Zhou Muti. He's been treating me better. But also clinging to me more intensely. He makes breakfast before work, picks me up afterward, buys me flowers, my favorite treats, and all sorts of coveted gifts that require real effort to obtain. My colleagues would tease me, "Sis Jean, your husband adores you so much, what's your secret?" I'd just smile. Whenever Chen Wei called, he'd discreetly hang up. Chen Wei showed up unannounced one day, the same cafe as last time. Her previous composure was gone, with none of that arrogant provocation she'd shown me. "What did you do?" Chen Wei stared daggers at me, her knuckles turning white from gripping the cup. I took a sip of coffee and smiled at her. "I didn't do anything, just told him how much I used to love him." Owner's exclusive contact pushpin WeChat, QQ number 1797328031. Then walked away without looking back. Why get divorced just to make things easier for them? One can't get what they desire, the other can't salvage what's lost. Isn't this actually better? Song Jin, he doesn't love you, it's me he loves, me. Chen Wei lost her composure, shouting at me in fury. She kept repeating it over and over, but there wasn't much conviction behind her words. "Is that so?" I set down my coffee and stood up. "Then convince Zhou Mu to divorce me. Can you actually do that?" "What's this?" Chen Wei, 20, Zhou Mu asked me out for a Valentine's date. I agreed, but we ended up meeting at the same restaurant as that day. Zhou Mu's expression momentarily stiffened upon arrival, but he swiftly masked it with practiced ease. He set down a gift box. "I saw this last time, it suits you perfectly, thank you." I lifted the lid of the gift box to reveal an exquisite pink diamond necklace that must have cost a fortune. "Sorry, I've been swamped lately and didn't get you a proper present." "It's fine." Zhou Mu smiled with obvious ingratiation. "Having you here with me today is the greatest gift." His words were drowned in the sudden downpour of red wine. White shirt stained, crimson droplets fell from tangled hair onto the table as I activated the camera, aiming it at the figure across from me. "Zhou Mu." Chen Wei's wine glass shattered on the floor, exploding into fragments. Her voice was shrill and heart-wrenching. "You spent Valentine's Day with her. Why won't you reply to my messages? Have you fallen for someone else? Tell me, have you? I've truly fallen for her." Zhou Mu remained silent, standing to accept the towel from the waiter and wiping the red wine from his face. Curious stares from all directions closed in around us, yet I sat perfectly composed in my seat, watching this farce unfold. "I'm sorry." Zhou Mu ignored her and turned to me. "Xiao Jin, there's been a slight complication." The nearby waiter had already started intercepting Chen Wei. "Don't be angry, I'll make it up." "Song Jin." Chen Wei suddenly turned her gaze to me. "You did that on purpose." Novel collection pushpin WeChat, QQ 1797328031. "You did this deliberately, didn't you? You messaged me on purpose, pissed me off on purpose, lured me here on purpose, just to humiliate me." Her rage escalated as she grabbed a bottle from the table and hurled it straight at me. In the blink of an eye, someone stepped in front of me. The sickening thud of heavy weight hitting flesh sent chills down my spine. Zhou Mu held me tight in his arms. I could hear his heartbeat growing louder with each passing second. Daily updates pushpin WeChat, QQ 1797328031. Yet my face remained expressionless. Chen Wei was held back there, her hand still frozen in the throwing position. Zhou Mu whirled around and slapped her hard across the face with lightning speed. "My heart hasn't changed, Chen Wei. She's my real wife." The crowd gasped in shock, and I heard people whispering, calling Chen Wei crazy. How dare this homewrecker flaunt herself before the actual wife? Chen Wei just stared at Zhou Mu with a deathly pale face, weeping uncontrollably. The farce finally subsided after the waiter escorted Chen Wei out. I'd lost all appetite for dinner, and Zhou Mu looked thoroughly disheveled, so we simply left. 21. While waiting for the car by the entrance, Zhou Mu turned to apologize. Sorry. Xiao Jin, I asked you out only for us to run into this mess. If you're free, let's try again tomorrow. Not available tomorrow. I cut him off. The air suddenly felt thin. I dragged the video progress bar back slightly. When I looked up again, Zhou Mu had been watching me all along. The dark stain still marked his white shirt as his hair fell forward, those striking phoenix eyes half-lidded, his irises shimmered like storm-tossed waves. Or perhaps shards of fractured light. I saw a crimson trail streak from the corner of his eye. His voice quivered into fragments. Why aren't you angry? I've known Zhou Mu for over 20 years, chased after him for more than a decade. He's perpetually gentle, eternally composed, always self-possessed, as dependable as an elder brother. He stepped forward and grasped my wrist, careful not to squeeze too hard. A shadow loomed over me. Yet it felt like a teetering glass tower. She said you were the one who sent her the address, Xiao Jin. Why aren't you angry? Please be mad at me. You yell at me, you hit me, just fight with me. I'll give you anything you want, please. He rested his head on my shoulder, and I felt a faint dampness seeping through. Please, Xiao Jin, anything. I'll do anything. Just don't leave me. The late winter wind carried a lingering chill against my face. Zhou Mu's sandalwood scent enveloped me completely. His embrace was suffocatingly tight. His scorching breath crept down the neckline of my clothes, yet I remained frozen in that stiff posture, like a wooden puppet. Zhou Mu refused to let go. I knew he was waiting for me to speak, but I said nothing. 22. The next morning, Zhou Mu acted like nothing had happened and still got up early to make me breakfast. I was in too much of a hurry to bother. After I arrived at the office, he ordered me takeout again. My colleague walked into my office drooling. Auntie Jean. Can you really finish all that breakfast? I smiled and asked. Hungry, want some? Her eyes lit up. Thanks Auntie Jean. Claim benefits pushpin WeChat. QQ1797328031. I caught a glimpse of the note on the takeout as she leaned in. Zhou Mu had written eat properly in the remarks. Before she could speak, I snatched the note and tossed it away. She immediately fell silent and quietly ate her food. Zhou Mu came to pick me up after work again, as if he didn't have a job of his own. His car parked right at the office entrance, making my coworkers envy me for landing such a great husband. After saying goodbye to everyone, I finally opened the door and got in the back seat. Zhou Mu handed me a warm bottle of pear syrup. Heard you coughing a bit yesterday. Thanks. I took it and casually placed it by the car door. We maintained a superficial peace between us, as if nothing had ever happened. All the way home, Zhou Mu didn't follow when I got off the car. He only came upstairs after I reached our doorstep, still holding the thermos he'd handed me when we first got in the car. Sorry about that. I left it by the side door and completely forgot. Zhou Mu remained silent. He stood at the foot of the stairs looking up at me, backlit. His face was shadowed, his expression unreadable. After what felt like an eternity, he finally spoke. Xiao Jin, you still care about me, since you're not bringing up divorce, right? I averted my gaze from his face, staring into emptiness. You're wrong, I replied with a smile. Why must you keep pressing? Why must I spell it out for you that I don't love you anymore? Why tear off that fig leaf when adults knowingly maintain it for decency's sake? The adult world is entangled with too many competing interests. My love for Zhou Mu died the day I finished reading that post, leaving love behind, weighing whether marriage or divorce would maximize my benefits. The conclusion was clear: staying married to Zhou Mu yields greater advantages, provided I maintain no emotional attachments elsewhere. The connections and resources Zhou Mu provides are what keep me in this marriage. Business is business. If love demands absolute sincerity untainted by self-interest, then after love faded, all that remained between Zhou Mu and me was calculation. I met Zhou Mu's gaze with a faint smile. My eyes never wavered. I'm just making the most of what I have. Don't you get it, Zhou Mu? Our marriage lost its love long ago. What remains are hollow calculations and desperate attempts to please. A frigid relationship sustained only by legal bonds. Zhou Mu staggered slightly. I thought he'd be angry. He would get angry, but he didn't. He took a deep breath and forcibly swallowed all his emotions. His voice was barely above a whisper, like the flutter of a butterfly's wings, so fragile it might break with the slightest touch. It's fine, as long as you don't mention divorce. Not right now. I smiled, ruthlessly snapped the butterfly's wings. When I meet someone who makes my heart flutter again, all bets are off. No, absolutely not. Zhou Mu's composure shattered in an instant. You can't do this, Xiao Jin. I love you, you can't love anyone else, shouted Jean. I have no interest in watching his meltdown, walked straight in through the front door. Zhou Mu, cut the crazy act. 23. Emotions are beyond our control. There's no sense clinging to what hurts you. My decade-long secret love for Zhou Mu was undeniably real, but I know better than anyone, love yourself before loving others. If I truly loved him beyond reason, I wouldn't have chosen my own future without hesitation when going abroad. The path of love is rough, and stumbles are inevitable, yet I'll always have the courage to love again and the resolve to never look back, because I will always love myself most. Epilogue. Childhood sweethearts parted. Daily updates. Pushpin WeChat. QQ1797328*0*31. Zhou Mu called Song Jin in the throes of high fever. Call after call yielded only busy signals. Sorry. The number you dialed is currently engaged. He kept calling and hanging up, over and over. The line just wouldn't connect. Feverish and disoriented, he dropped the phone on the floor, unsure if his last attempt had gone through. He woke up in the hospital. Zhou Mu opened his eyes to a blinding white wall and stared blankly for a long moment. Someone beside him suddenly spoke. You're awake. It was Song Jin. She reached over to check his forehead temperature, then poured him a glass of water. Zhou Mu had a momentary daze, almost thinking he was dreaming, until the cool touch pressed against his forehead. He tried to speak, but his throat burned with pain. Only after taking the water from Song Jin and drinking it did he feel slightly better. Novel collection. Pushpin WeChat. QQ1797328*031. It had been ages since he'd seen Song Jin like this. At home, they behaved like distant roommates. Though Song Jin treated him with courtesy, he knew it was merely her polite demeanor toward acquaintances. Xiao Jin, he blurted out urgently. He wanted to ask if she'd received his call. Was she the one who brought him to the hospital? Have you been keeping vigil by his bedside all this time? Before he could finish, Song Jin asked him, are you hungry? What would you like to eat? Pork rib soup. He did it on purpose. Once upon a time, Song Jin fell ill. He would make her pork rib soup. Later, Song Jin insisted on learning how to cook it, saying she'd take good care of him when he got sick. Unable to refuse, he taught her. He brought it up deliberately, trying to rekindle something. Song Jin's fingers kept tapping the screen as she nodded. I placed the order. Should be here soon. Zhou Mu froze momentarily. He was asking for too much. He actually thought she'd cook for him. Song Jin stood up. Just press the bedside bell if you need anything. Your meal will arrive shortly. Zhou Mu stared at her, momentarily dazed. Where are you headed? I've got a meeting this afternoon, so I'll head out first. Song Jin gave a slight nod and walked toward the door. Zhou Mu wanted to call out to her. The lingering fever left his mind in a fog. He suddenly grabbed Song Jin's sleeve. Song Jin turned to look at him. Will you stay with me? He knew he'd said the wrong thing when Song Jin's expression suddenly changed, yet she maintained her composure. I'm sorry, that meeting is crucial. What meeting could possibly be more important than a patient? He wanted to ask her. He wanted to say, you weren't like this before. He wanted to remind her. You promised you'd take good care of me. He wanted to say, but you promised, you swore, you loved me, yet no words escaped his lips. The last shred of reason reminded him, he alone had destroyed it all. He let go. Sorry, go ahead. In the beginning, Zhou Mu thought it was enough that they hadn't divorced yet. As long as they remained married, he still had time to win Song Jin back. After all, she had loved him so deeply before. Later he realized his mistake. Song Jin rejected his overtures. To the outside world, they remained the picture of marital bliss, but behind closed doors, they were merely polite housemates. Zhou Mu's breakfasts for Song Jin always went uneaten. The occasional reciprocal gifts she gave seemed thoughtlessly chosen, devoid of any genuine sentiment. He told himself it didn't matter, that someday he'd finally win Song Jin's heart. Yet the more affection he showed, the icier her indifference became. 1. The journey back from banquets or parental visits was always Zhou Mu's most agonizing moment. That's when the emotional whiplash hit hardest. The beaming companion would abruptly release his hand, leaving only fading warmth in the crook of his arm. He'd actually thought about it before. Breakdowns are never rare occurrences. He begged Song Jin to scold him, gripping her hand to slap himself, pleading with red-rimmed eyes for her resentment, but Song Jin remained silent. Withdrawing her hand from his grasp, with a soft sigh, she said, stop this nonsense. His gaze was calm. He looked like a criminal with nowhere to hide. He was being unreasonable from start to finish. It was at that moment he realized regret and sorrow were futile. Song Jin would never look back. so in the end, he still thought, as long as Songjin didn't file for divorce, it would be enough, even if she was just using him, even if she was scheming against him, even if there was no love, none of it mattered, as long as she was willing to stay by his side, as long as she remained his wife in name, that'll do. Yet those words hung over Zhou Mu's head like the sword of Damocles. He never knew when the blade might fall, and he lived in constant dread of its descent, the one thing he could never, ever accept. She fell in love with someone else. Zhou Mu was hospitalized for 2 days. Songjin didn't show up the next day. Even when he got home, there was still no sign of her. He texted Songjin, but it took hours to get a reply saying she was away on business. Their last conversation had been 2 weeks ago. Zhou Mu asked if she was free. A friend had given him 2 tickets to a musical. I don't enjoy musicals, sorry. Zhou Mu stared at this message for a long time. She used to watch them with him before. Resource group contact, QQ179. 732-8031. On their way back, Songjin walked arm in arm with him, her steps light and cheerful. Zhou Mu smiled as he watched her. I had such a wonderful time today, but it wasn't the musical that made her happy, it's about them being together. Zhou Mu typed and deleted repeatedly in the chat box before finally sending a message. I've been discharged from the hospital. After some thought, it was recalled and changed to safe travels. There was no reply from the other end. Zhou Mu sighed and put down his phone. The city bustled with evening activity, lights twinkling in every household. Workers returned home as the aroma of home-cooked meals wafted through the neighborhood. Laughter and cheerful voices of families filled the air. Zhou Mu sat alone in the darkness, the lights left off. Suddenly, the house felt unbearably empty. He never used to feel this way before. When Songjin wasn't busy, she loved curling up on the couch watching anime. It seemed like a habit she'd picked up from living at his place. After she returned from abroad, he thought Songjin seemed more mature, almost unfamiliar to him. Only later did I realize she hadn't changed at all. She still loves anime, still calls him Brother Mu, laughs heartily when happy, and is easily comforted when upset. Truth be told, Zhou Mu was delighted. At work, Songjin is highly capable and exceptionally competent. Everyone praises her independence, but only he truly knows. His little girl still knows how to be playful, watching children's cartoons, laughing and crying along with the characters. Only he knows. He had secretly reveled in this. Only he knew this side of Songjin. Songjin returned from her business trip one evening. She hadn't told him when she'd be back. Zhou Mu happened to run into them when he came downstairs. He saw Songjin standing face to face with a man, too. The two were deep in conversation. And Songjin's smiling eyes radiated a vitality he hadn't seen in her for ages. The man lowered his gaze slightly, his usual aloof demeanor softened noticeably when facing Songjin. They stood together, not particularly close in distance, yet radiating an unspoken harmony that left no room for outsiders. Zhou Mu suddenly burned with anger. A sour, inexplicable ache swelled in his chest. It even made him want to charge over and throw a punch at that man's face, but that would make Songjin angry. He wanted to walk over, put his arm around her shoulders, stake his claim, and thank the man for bringing his wife home, yet his feet remained rooted to the spot, unable to move an inch. But beyond the anger, the panic hit harder this time. The sword of Damocles hangs by a thread. Could it be him? That person? Could it be him? Songjin bid farewell and turned to walk this way. Zhou Mu's body reacted before his mind could catch up, and he immediately turned toward home. The moment Songjin opened the door, he forced a pale smile at her. He chose to run away. While Songjin was showering, he went through her chat history. He knew it was despicable, but he couldn't help himself. He just couldn't accept it. Can't bear the thought of Songjin falling for someone else. Songjin still used the same gesture password as before, unchanged. He unlocked it effortlessly. The pinned chat on WeChat was with Zhaoxing, a mutual friend. He tapped in and skimmed through the messages. Zhaoxing, just get divorced already. I'm begging you. 3. Every time I look at that husband of yours, I want to stab him twice. Songjin replied with a doge meme. What's your type? I can set you up. You're actually pretty great, senior. They've had a crush on you for ages, you know. 4. Songjin just replied with a doge meme. Slapping you, JPG. Zhou Mu exited and pulled up the senior's WeChat. Songjin's contact note was simple. Just senior Xia. Nothing suggested any personal involvement. The first post was Songjin's recent update. Thanks for seeing me home, I appreciate it. The senior replied with equal courtesy. My pleasure. The sound of running water in the bathroom continued. Skirt owner's exclusive ID pushpin WeChat, Q number 179-732-8031. Zhou frantically scrolled up through the chat history. The two of them had been chatting very frequently lately. Most of the conversations revolved around work, with only occasional polite inquiries sprinkled in. Both maintained that unspoken boundary between them, neither daring to cross it. In that dazed moment, Senior Xie's new message notification popped up. I managed to snag 2 tickets for the XX exhibition. Zhou was also familiar with XX. It was Song Jin's favorite anime. Zhou could almost predict what he was about to say, driven by anger. He even considered giving a flat-out refusal, but then a message popped up on the other side. Not "Let's go together." Instead, "You can go have fun with your friends." Zhou stood frozen in place. He'd rather they'd been exchanging flirtatious banter. Daily updates pushpin WeChat, QQ number 179-732-8031. He wished Senior Xie had knowingly crossed the line by inviting her despite her marriage. She'd rather retaliate in anger by cheating on him too, that way they'd each have one affair. Making them even, he wouldn't hold her mistake against her, as long as they could go back to how things were. The more this happens, the more it reveals his despicable nature. Their propriety only magnified his own sense of depravity. See, he's the only one at fault here, and he's the only truly vile one among them. Song Jin might have noticed him checking her phone, but she chose not to confront him. Zhou lived in constant unease. The dread of losing her grew heavier by the day, yet he felt powerless to stop it, no matter how devoted he was to Song Jin. His efforts vanished like a clay ox in the sea, met with utter indifference. It was on a sunny afternoon that Song Jin brought up the divorce. She came with the divorce papers, sitting across from him with a calm smile. 5. Let's get divorced. The words fell like a hammer. That very instant, the sword hanging above him came crashing down, splitting him clean in two from head to toe. Daily updates pushpin WeChat, QQ hashtag 1797328*031. The heart in his left half beat slower and slower. Blood and flesh spilled across the ground. He seemed to genuinely experience heart palpitations. Facing death, breathing became difficult. Is it him? It took him a long moment to find his voice again, yet the tone sounded unnaturally shrill to his own ears. Who's there? Senior Xie, you've fallen for him, have I? Oh, Song Jin startled slightly before coming to her senses and shaking her head. I'm not in love with him, just wanted to give it a chance. Song Jin smiled. A chance for me, and for him too. After all, she looked at him, her smile deepening. Before starting a new relationship, you should properly close the previous chapter, shouldn't you? Zhou felt as if something had seized his throat. 6. He wanted to tear the black and white divorce papers before him to shreds, but for the longest time, he simply said, I understand. I'll sign the divorce papers after reviewing them. Song Jin paused for a moment, then broke into a smile, with genuine delight. Yes, I'll be waiting. He wanted to cling on, afraid she might get annoyed. Let it be then. At least leave a somewhat decent ending in the end. Zhou revised the divorce agreement, giving most of the assets to Song Jin. She also called to ask about it. Resource group pushpin V Red Heart. QQ 179-732-8031. It's compensation. The person on the other end chuckled but said nothing. He lied to her. He just wanted to leave her with a good final impression when they parted ways, even though their relationship had already deteriorated beyond repair. On the day they got their divorce certificate, Song Jin came alone and left alone. Standing at the doorway, Zhou asked her, need a ride? Song Jin shook her head calmly. I'll walk. Xingxing's waiting for me. Zhou remained by the door, watching her figure grow smaller in the distance, until she vanished from sight. It was such a beautiful day, yet he felt absolutely miserable, completely and utterly miserable. He'd actually meant to ask her if she ever really blamed him. Truth be told, there was no need to ask, because she wouldn't have cared either way. I opened my mouth to call out, Zhou, she, just like that year when he brought fruits to Song Jin's house, only to hear her mother asking, made up your mind, really going abroad? What about the person you love? Could you really bear to be apart from him? Song Jin let out a laugh, her voice still carrying that crisp, girlish sweetness from her youth. Mom, when it comes to anything involving my parents, my future was never a multiple-choice question to me. She's always been that resolute. Story 2. I traveled back to the day when he confessed his love to me. Everyone thought I would reject him, crush his dignity mercilessly, and mock him for being a toad trying to eat a swan, including him. Under the curious gazes of the onlookers, I took the hand of the down-and-out young man, my eyes curved with a smile. Jiang Yuanzhou, I like you too, let's walk the future path together. The basketball court was bustling with noise. I, like you. The down-and-out young man's attire was out of place in this place. His thin shoulders trembled slightly, and his voice was faint. He was coerced to come here. The people around were all looking at him as if watching a joke. In this prestigious school, ordinary people were not tolerated. In my previous life, I scolded him in front of everyone, calling him a toad dreaming of eating a swan, and a delusional person. I trampled his dignity under my feet mercilessly. He didn't look up at me. Presumably, he was also thinking about how to deal with the situation later and didn't have the slightest expectation of me. After I died in my previous life, I realized that I was in a sweet and spoiling novel with a broken logic. I was the vicious supporting female character who targeted the female lead everywhere and clung to the male lead like a piece of chewing gum. Jiang Yuanzhou was not the male lead, but the affectionate second male lead. He was just a supporting character like me. After being humiliated by me, because of a word of encouragement from the female lead, he later gave all his billions of wealth to the female lead and dedicated himself to her. However, although he stood on the female lead's side, he often showed mercy to me, giving me the opportunity to do stupid things again and again. The male lead, Gu Xing, also looked over. A casual three-point shot fell into the basket. Gu Xing and I were childhood sweethearts, and our families were both prominent families. Since I was a child, I knew that I was going to marry him in the future, but after the female lead, Bai Xiaoxiao, appeared, everything became strange. He gave the breakfast that he used to bring to me every day to Bai Xiaoxiao. He also gave the seat that he used to reserve for me to Bai Xiaoxiao. Xiaoxiao is different from you. Her family is in a difficult situation. As time went by, he also gave his heart to Bai Xiaoxiao. Gu Xing just glanced at Jiang Yuanzhou and didn't say anything. He didn't think that Jiang Yuanzhou would pose any threat to him. In the past, during the halftime break, I would always bring water to Gu Xing. This time was no exception, not receiving the water that was handed to him immediately. He wasn't impatient either. He just sat on the resting seat waiting for me, because I would always revolve around him. Those who are loved always feel fearless. With a mocking smile, he called my name, Su Zhaoyan. When did you start wasting time with someone like this? The embarrassment in Jiang Yuanzhou's eyes flashed by. His washed-out school uniform looked extremely down and out among a group of wealthy young men, but I took the initiative to hold his hand, my eyes curved with a smile. Jiang Yuanzhou, I like you too, let's walk the future path together. Jiang Yuanzhou was a head taller than me. He lowered his head, and I looked up at him. His eyelashes trembled slightly. His voice was low and hoarse, lacking confidence. What did you just say? Before I could say anything, Gu Xing, not far away, couldn't sit still first. Gu Xing's face darkened. Su Zhaoyan, if you want to anger me, you don't have to lower your status and be with someone like him. I didn't look at him but stared into Jiang Yuanzhou's eyes and said word by word, didn't you hear clearly? Then I'll say it again. His face instantly turned red. I continued, I like you, so now I'm your girlfriend. Gu Xing gave Jiang Yuanzhou a cold look. Don't you know what kind of person she is? She's just playing with you. You don't really believe it, do you? Jiang Yuanzhou raised his eyes. Can I trust you? My face was reflected in his clear eyes. I said softly, are you willing to trust me? He suddenly smiled. I am willing. After I led Jiang Yuanzhou away, Gu Xing didn't follow. He thought that I was just throwing a tantrum and that sooner or later I would run back and revolve around him again. And I also knew that it was Gu Xing's good friend who deliberately tried to embarrass me today, to stand up for Bai Xiaoxiao. Gu Xing didn't know that the people he regarded as brothers all liked Bai Xiaoxiao to some extent. Seeing that there was no one around, I let go of Jiang Yuanzhou's hand. You played your part well. I smiled and teased him. Just now, his eyes almost made me believe that he had a crush on me. The affectionate second male lead couldn't possibly like me. And I had never thought in that direction, but Jiang Yuanzhou didn't show any relief after getting out of trouble. So, you were lying to me. His expression was hidden behind his disguise, and it was hard to see any dissatisfaction, but his tone was terrifyingly cold. Weren't we helping each other out just now? I smiled a little awkwardly and secretly guessed what he meant. Now, in the eyes of everyone, Jiang Yuanzhou was someone that anyone could humiliate a few words, but in the future, he would become an unshakable big shot in the Shanghai circle. My only thought was not to make any enemies. Jiang Yuanzhou retracted his previous tone and returned to his usual cautiousness. It made me a bit confused. They all know that you like Gu Xing. Did you do that just now to anger him? I smiled. Who said I like him? Jiang Yuanzhou suddenly let out a sigh of relief. You're not lying to me this time. I found a bench and motioned for him to sit down. The way he sat upright was really far from the person who would later make waves in Shanghai. Who could have imagined it? I thought for a moment and asked him, did I bring you any trouble? Here, going against Guxing was not a good thing. He frowned. No. I patted him on the shoulder, and his eyes trembled. He turned his head to the side, seemingly shy. Don't be afraid, I'll help you. He might not believe me, after all. Because of the previous incidents of competing with Bai Xiaoxiao for Guxing, my reputation as an arrogant and overbearing person had spread far and wide. Now, I was no longer controlled by the plot. Standing outside of it, things were much clearer. Jiang Yuanzhou turned to look at me. I showed a toothy smile and said gently, it seems you didn't understand again. I'll protect you in the future. In order not to create a powerful enemy for myself, I decided to win him over. The tips of his ears turned red, and he nodded in response to my gaze. It seemed that Jiang Yuanzhou was really easy to deceive when he was young, even a bit cute. The next day at school, it happened to be a golf class. I didn't see Jiang Yuanzhou among the students in the class. There was some movement in the men's restroom on the west side of the teaching building. After a sound of struggling, suddenly a heavy object fell to the ground, and a burst of laughter rang out. Do you think that by getting close to the eldest lady of the Jiang family, you can get rid of us? Weren't you the one who cared most about face? You're more eager to be a gigolo than the rest of us. There were all kinds of unpleasant and dirty words. Without thinking, I opened the door of the men's restroom. When the people inside saw me come in, their jaws almost dropped. Su Xiaoyan, why are you entering the men's restroom? Because of the Jiang family, they didn't dare to do anything to me. I walked up to Jiang Yuanzhou and casually asked, did they bully you like this before? In fact, I didn't need to ask to know that Jiang Yuanzhou had a tough time here, but the scholarship here was very high, 100 times that of an ordinary school. The corner of Jiang Yuanzhou's mouth was broken, and there was a large abrasion on his arm joint. The sound of the heavy object falling to the ground just now must have been the sound of him being pushed down. He nodded and showed great forbearance. The leading boy stopped what he was doing. His father worked under my mother. Su Xiaoyan, do you really have a crush on this guy? His tone was still relatively polite. I took Jiang Yuanzhou's hand, and his palm was full of sweat. He will be mine from now on. I smiled. So, I hope you will treat him well in the future. After all, he is the one I like. The boy was stunned, looking as shocked as if he had seen a ghost. I gave him a glare and pulled Jiang Yuanzhou to the golf course. A quarter of the class time had already passed. Jiang Yuanzhou had an indifferent expression and was very repulsed by this place. I don't like this class. He was so uneasy that he wanted to go back to the classroom to do his homework. I blocked his way. Do you not like it? Or do you not have the equipment? I took out a spare set of golf clubs. This class is also counted towards the credits. Don't you want the scholarship anymore? He raised his eyelids but didn't say anything. I'm not someone who is overly sympathetic. Consider this money as a loan from me. You have to pay me back with interest in the future. The course assumes that everyone knows how to play, and the teacher only manages the order of the practice field. All the equipment is brought by the students themselves. For someone like Jiang Yuanzhou, it was impossible for him to afford it. Bai Xiaoxiao pestered Guxing to teach her how to play golf. Guxing had been squinting his eyes and resting. He looked down on the crowded golf course at school and thought it was beneath his dignity to play here. As soon as he saw me coming, he immediately agreed to Bai Xiaoxiao's request. He seemingly casually glanced at me. When his gaze swept over Jiang Yuanzhou beside me, his eyes trembled for a moment. In my previous life, Guxing once locked me in the golf course for a whole night, in order to let Bai Xiaoxiao know that he didn't have feelings for me in his heart. He cleared out everyone in advance, and not a single person told me. It rained heavily that night, with thunder and lightning. I was so scared that my whole body trembled. In the dark night, suddenly a flashlight appeared, piercing through the rainy night. The person who came in shouted, "Is there anyone else in here?" I replied tremblingly, "Yes." It was Jiang Yuanzhou. He had left his golf clubs in the course, so he came back. By the way, he saved me who was trapped in the course. There was prepared ginger tea in his car, still warm. He handed it to me with a cold expression and also sent me home. Other than that, he didn't say a single word to me. The male lead would only be potent and dote on one person. The second male lead, however, was kind to everyone, even though he didn't seem to like me. Guxing helped Bai Xiaoxiao adjust her posture and told her to aim before hitting the ball. Bai Xiaoxiao was a bit shy, I seem to be a bit clumsy, can you teach me again? Gushing seemed a bit impatient. Just as he was about to turn his head to look at me, I had already led Jiang Yuanzhou to an empty hitting position beside. I repeated what Gushing had just said to Bai Xiaoxiao. Understood. Jiang Yuanzhou nodded. Yes. Bai Xiaoxiao next door bit her lip. Actually, I already know how to do it. I was just being modest before. I didn't look at her but just watched Jiang Yuanzhou practice. Jiang Yuanzhou was very smart. Although it was his first time to touch golf, he didn't have the clumsiness of a beginner. Bai Xiaoxiao hit the ball twice, but the club didn't even touch the ball. An embarrassed look appeared on her face, and she turned to Gushing and said, I really seem to be a bit unaccustomed to it. Gushing perfunctorily responded a few words and proposed to have a match with Jiang Yuanzhou. I immediately laughed. You want to compete with a beginner? Gushing waved his hand and smiled mockingly. Isn't he supposed to be talented? He doesn't look like it's his first time. I was about to say something more. Jiang Yuanzhou grabbed my arm. I admit that I'm not as good as you in this regard. His speech was slow but firm. Gushing's mouth curled into a sarcastic smile. You're admitting defeat just like that. But Bai Xiaoxiao ran over and tugged at the corner of Gushing's clothes. Forget it. Why don't you two make up today? She looked so aggrieved, like a little white flower swaying in the wind. It seemed that today's matter was all because of her. The classmates beside jeered. It looks like one man is competing for two women. They couldn't wait to fan the flames even more. In addition, the news that Bai Xiaoxiao had been adopted by my family had already spread. She was now my adopted sister. The whispers around me reached my ears. Jiang Yuanzhou confessed his love to Su Xiaoyan yesterday. Could he be trying to create a distraction and attract Bai Xiaoxiao's attention? After all, the elder sister seems to be more in need of protection. With Su Xiaoyan's domineering appearance, do you think he can handle her? That must be the case, a bunch of mediocre people. Jiang Yuanzhou's voice was still as clear as the sound in a valley. Gushing's competitive spirit was completely aroused. He, the only son of the Gu family, when had it ever been someone else's turn to compete with him? He said indifferently that he could compete in anything, such as basketball. Jiang Yuanzhou actually agreed. I lowered my voice and asked him. He clearly used the provocation. Why did you fall for it? Jiang Yuanzhou's expression remained the same, even if I avoid it this time. He will still find trouble with me next time. Next time, I'll be here. I turned around and happened to meet his gaze. Suddenly, the atmosphere became a bit delicate. The class bell rang for a full minute, deafeningly loud. During this time, I saw his lips move, but I didn't hear a single word clearly. After the bell stopped, I was about to ask him. He averted his gaze, cleared his throat, and looked in Gushing's direction. You can set the time. The gentle breeze brushed across his face, and his eyes were more dazzling than the sunlight. Bai Xiaoxiao seemed to have been wronged somehow. Her eyes were red, and when she saw me, she directly hid back in the classroom. The passing classmates thought that I had bullied her, but because I was the eldest lady of the Su family, they only dared to talk about it in private. I've always been uninterested in such things. Just as I was about to leave, someone bumped straight into me. He was out of breath, as if he had something urgent to tell me. At a distance of one step, I finally saw his face clearly. It was Li Weiwei, my good friend. In the novel, she was usually called the little follower of the vicious supporting female character. She was out of breath as she told me that she had just avenged me and mocked Bai Xiaoxiao a few words. She was a bit proud of herself, but I remembered her ending. After I died, she went to question Gushing about what he had done to me. Gushing had drunk too much wine that day and couldn't see the road clearly. He drove the car and crashed into her. Li Weiwei was knocked flying 10 meters away. Gushing directly drove over her body. Later, Bai Xiaoxiao knelt down in front of Jiang Yuanzhou and begged him to go to prison for Gushing. The affectionate second male lead naturally agreed. From beginning to end, no one cared about Li Weiwei's death. She was just a cannon fodder. In front of me, Li Weiwei was still full of life. When she saw the tears in my eyes, she was suddenly stunned on the spot. Xiaoyan, why are you crying? I was about to speak, but she excitedly motioned for me to look behind me. It was Gushing being surrounded by a group of people. There was a distance of 5 steps between us. In the past, I would also have been one of the people surrounding him, but at this moment, I naturally turned back and didn't look at him again. Li Weiwei was a bit surprised. Xiaoyan, go over quickly, otherwise he'll be snatched away by that little bitch Bai Xiaoxiao. I shook my head, put my hand on the corridor railing, and looked into the distance. I'm not interested anymore. Is it because of that little? She was filled with indignation. I interrupted her. Why should I like someone who doesn't like me? Li Weiwei was taken aback, then smiled at me. Well then, out with the old and in with the new. I don't think Gu Xing is all that great either. As if she remembered something. She leaned close to me and asked in a low voice, they say you like Jiang Yuanzhou, is that true? I was startled and also shook my head. No, but I have a bit of a favorable impression. I was about to continue when Jiang Yuanzhou's figure came into my sight. He didn't say anything, just looked at me. The look of disappointment in his eyes surprised me a bit. Li Weiwei directly called out to him, hey, Jiang Yuanzhou, what did you mean by making our Zhaoyan embarrassed last time? She had a bad temper and a loud voice. At this time, there were quite a few people in the corridor. Human nature is to be nosy, and they all looked over. Jiang Yuanzhou was a bit embarrassed on the spot, perhaps because he was often humiliated by those young masters. There was not the slightest trace of anger on his face. Before Li Weiwei could say her next sentence, I quickly covered her mouth. I didn't explain it clearly to her. I smiled awkwardly, but Jiang Yuanzhou apologized to me solemnly. I'm sorry, for a while, originally it was Jiang Yuanzhou confessing his love to me. As it was being passed around, it actually changed into several versions. Jiang Yuanzhou provoked me, the overbearing young lady, just to attract Bai Xiaoxiao's attention. Jiang Yuanzhou dumped me and hooked up with Bai Xiaoxiao, and I chased after Jiang Yuanzhou to beg for a reconciliation. Bai Xiaoxiao was hesitant between Jiang Yuanzhou and Gu Xing. So the two of them decided to have a competition to determine the winner. The essence of human beings should be gossip. During the evening reading class, there were not many people reciting books in the corridor, just a few sporadic ones. Jiang Yuanzhou leaned against the railing, and the pages of his textbook hadn't been turned for a long time. He was distracted, maybe he noticed that I was looking at him. So he took 2 steps to the right and changed his position, just being blocked by the wall. I also took a book and went out, patted him on the back, and deliberately frowned and said, are you avoiding me? He remained silent, which was a kind of acquiescence. During the day in the restroom, I said I like, as if he didn't want to hear me finish. He quickly said, I know you were trying to help me. I smiled. They definitely won't trouble you anymore in the future. Just focus on your studies with peace of mind. Just as I was about to go back, I turned my head and saw the dean of students who had gone up the stairs and was walking towards us. I quickly opened my textbook. But Jiang Yuanzhou said indifferently, you're holding the book upside down. After I turned it around, the dean of students had already come up behind me. My mother was a school board member, so he paid special attention to me. He would report my grades in real time every time. But in my previous life, I dropped out of school and also refused to go abroad. My mother never said a single word of blame. Zhaoyan, it's a good thing to interact more with classmates who are good at studying. The dean of students adjusted the glasses on his nose. Everyone also knew that I was a rich young lady who just idled away my time. I usually looked down on students from ordinary families, especially those like Jiang Yuanzhou who got into the school purely based on their grades. I smiled and replied, okay, Director Qian. Then I looked at Jiang Yuanzhou beside me. Student Jiang, I think the problem you explained to me just now really enlightened me. Can I ask you to give me tutoring lessons in the future? Naturally, Jiang Yuanzhou couldn't refuse me in front of the dean of students. In silence, he nodded. After the dean of students walked away, he asked, when did I explain a problem to you? I answered silently in my heart, in my previous life, at that time. I heard Gu Xing laugh at me in front of everyone, saying that I was stupid and couldn't even solve a simple problem. I was so angry that I stopped Jiang Yuanzhou who was passing by. I gave him a 100 yuan bill and asked him to explain the problem to me. He said at that time, I'll only explain it once, let's see if you can understand it. I thought he wanted to play tricks on me on purpose, so I listened especially carefully, but the detailed way he explained it allowed me, who always slept in class all day, to draw inferences about other cases from one instance. In the end, he didn't accept my money and didn't say another word to me. That day, it was getting late. I only saw the problem clearly and didn't see his expression hidden in the night. Jiang Yuanzhou probably thought I was making up a story. He didn't believe me. I suggested that he come to my house this Sunday, and the hourly wage would be calculated according to the market price for tutoring. But he suddenly blurted out, why have you been helping me so much these days? Presumably, he didn't want to be my tutor and didn't answer my question. I wasn't discouraged either. After all, my image of being ignorant and incompetent had already been deeply ingrained in people's hearts. The main characters and the affectionate second male lead were all portrayed as extremely intelligent. Only I had no special skills and finally lost my life. It doesn't matter. I traveled back just to change my destiny. Since the day I came back, I've been an independent person, I said meaningfully. Jiang Yuanzhou, if I fall into a trough in the future, can you give me a hand? Afraid that he wouldn't agree, I added, just once, I'm not that unreasonable. But he laughed, a self-deprecating laugh. Why do you have confidence in me? I met his unconfident gaze and said sincerely, you got into this school and stood in front of them. Although the starting points are different, the end points may not necessarily mean you'll lose to them. Don't you think you're really amazing? Jiang Yuanzhou was stunned. After a while, he said, I've never heard anyone say that before. There's a saying, don't bully a young man because he's poor. I was very serious. Jiang Yuanzhou paused and said, if what you said comes true, come to me, he added, every time, after Li Weiwei knew the whole story. She planned to go and apologize to Jiang Yuanzhou. I let out a long sigh. It's better to find Bai Xiaoxiao first. Why? Li Weiwei was almost so excited that she jumped onto the table. I almost couldn't hold her back. Why? I knew that later, the boy who had a crush on Bai Xiaoxiao beside Gu Xing, because of today's incident, found a few hooligans to stop Li Weiwei on her way home. Li Weiwei didn't tell me exactly what happened that day, but it took her about 2 years to regain her hope in life. I said, just do it for my sake. She's my adopted sister now. Just give me some face. When Li Weiwei apologized, she was very reluctant. Bai Xiaoxiao's eyes were still red. As long as Zhao Yan isn't angry with me, that's enough. I smiled. Why would I be angry? Who would want to go against the female lead's halo? I heard that Xing used to bring you breakfast. I've already reminded him to bring 2 servings tomorrow. One for me and one. I smiled indifferently. It's like I can't afford to eat. Thank you for your kindness. In the evening, Bai Xiaoxiao said that the water in her shower room couldn't come out and knocked on my door. I opened the door but didn't let her in. Find someone else. I can't fix it either. I spread my hands and told the truth. Seeing that it was useless to ask me, her weak and boneless body turned around shakily and went down the stairs. She went to find Zhao Jianqing. Less than 10 minutes later, my door was knocked again. This time it was my father. There were only the 3 of us here, and my mother wasn't at home. Bai Xiaoxiao was my father Zhao Jianqing's illegitimate daughter. Her mother brought her up alone in hardship. Because of an illness, her mother passed away, and only on her deathbed did she tell Bai Xiaoxiao who her biological father was. At that time, my father Zhao Jianqing was accompanying my mother in the hospital for her recuperation, but he saw his first love at the end of her life. Comparing the VIP ward where my mother lived, which had an independent living room, spacious and bright, the place where Bai Xiaoxiao's mother lived was cramped, crowded, and noisy, he felt even more sorry for Bai Xiaoxiao, the daughter of his first love, and increasingly thought that it was all my mother's fault, that she had blocked the happiness of their family. But he forgot who was the one who had tried so hard to become a son-in-law of the Su family at that time. His tone was a bit annoyed now. Now Xiaoxiao is your sister, she's not familiar with this family, can't you help take a look? I still smiled. Even if I look, I can't fix it. Bai Xiaoxiao came out to smooth things over. Zhao Yan can't do it either. Don't blame her. Zhao Jianqing stroked her head. Xiaoxiao is still sensible. Zhao Yan, you should learn from her. I neither nodded nor shook my head. I just thought the scene of their father-daughter affection was very funny. Thinking of the several bugging devices that Zhao Jianqing installed in Bai Xiaoxiao's room, I couldn't help but wonder how funny her expression would be when she found out. Thinking carefully, it seemed that she wouldn't be surprised. Bai Xiaoxiao was immersed in the love and favor from others. Whether it was the love from Zhao Jianqing or the male lead Gu Xing, she accepted it all and enjoyed it. When she lost it, she would panic and use her weakness to win the other person back. On the golf course, she could learn at once, but she showed weakness to Gu Xing to retain him. The sound of rushing water came from Bai Xiaoxiao's shower room. It was fixed. Bai Xiaoxiao let out an exclamation. Daddy still loves me the most, obviously. She could fix it in my previous life. But I wasn't surprised at all. Jiang Yuanzhou arrived at my doorstep at the agreed time. Seeing Jiang Yuanzhou pacing back and forth on the surveillance screen, I couldn't help laughing. I immediately asked Aunt Wang to go and pick him up to prevent him from getting lost in the yard. When Jiang Yuanzhou appeared, Bai Xiaoxiao was just about to go out. She greeted Jiang Yuanzhou. Don't look at Zhao Yan's bad temper. She's actually a nice person. Jiang Yuanzhou still had that indifferent look towards everyone. She has a good temper. Bai Xiaoxiao went downstairs awkwardly, and a lively sound came from downstairs. It was my mother who came back. Zhao Jianqing was also there, always following my mother. leaving me with no chance to interject. My mother brought a gift for both me and Bai Xiaoxiao. When she saw Jiang Yuanzhou greeted her politely. My mother smiled meaningfully. "Young man, you're good-looking." My mother never looked at anyone with prejudice. That's why Zhao Jianqing had the opportunity to become a son-in-law of a wealthy family. Seeing that my mother was about to go back to the company, Zhao Jianqing also wanted to follow. I quickly called out to my mother, "Mom, you've been working for so long and have no time to accompany me. I'm just about to go to an escape room with my classmates. Why don't you come with us?" Jiang Yuanzhou cooperated with me. "Auntie, come with us." Zhao Jianqing suggested that he also go. A trace of defensiveness flashed in his eyes, probably to prevent me from having a private conversation with my mother. In my previous life, he had always sowed discord between me and my mother. My mother also thought that the future of the Jiang Corporation couldn't be handed over to me. She would always love me, but she almost handed over all the company's equity to Zhao Jianqing. In the escape room, when the skeleton prop popped out, I was quick and pulled my mother into the door on the left. Jiang Yuanzhou, as I told him, pulled Zhao Jianqing into another door to buy me some time. My mother was still in shock and patted her chest. I hugged her and cried, "Mom, I had a dream last night." I told her about what happened in my previous life, including the secret that Bai Xiaoxiao was Zhao Jianqing's illegitimate daughter. My mother's reaction was exactly the same as in my previous life. However, at that time, I directly showed her the paternity test, but my mother insisted that it was forged by me. She trusted Zhao Jianqing a lot, much more than she trusted me. The plot of this sweet and spoiling novel with a broken logic was as consistent as ever. Before she met Zhao Jianqing, she was a capable and decisive female elite. After marrying him, she became a clingy little woman, just like Bai Xiaoxiao. When she met the main male characters in the plot, she would become so weak that she couldn't take care of herself. My mother didn't believe my words but promised me that she wouldn't tell anyone. She didn't want to destroy the harmony of the family, but the seed of doubt was planted. I didn't gain nothing either. Zhao Jianqing had already come over at this time. I gave Jiang Yuanzhou a okay gesture. Jiang Yuanzhou noticed the exhaustion in my eyes and handed me a bottle of water. My mother answered a phone call and quickly called Zhao Jianqing and went back to the company, but Jiang Yuanzhou didn't leave. "You'd better go home first." I had no energy left, and the helplessness of not being believed by my family deeply enveloped me. "You're in a bad state." He sat beside me, with an arm's distance between us. While I was in a daze, he came back with an ice cream cone. When I was unhappy before, my mother would always buy me one. Seeing his serious expression, I stopped crying and laughed. "This is the first time I've seen you talk so much." He was a bit unnatural. My mother used to say the same thing. I sighed. "Auntie must be a very nice person, right? I also want to meet such a nice person." His tone was still as plain as boiled water. "She passed away." I was stunned. And then I said, "Then you're living with your father now. He must also be a very nice person to have raised you so well." "He's also passed away." He seemed to be talking about someone else's business, as calm as still water, but the more he was like this, the greater the pain in his heart must be. There's a sentence in The Seventh Day that says the departure of a loved one is not a sudden downpour but a long-lasting dampness in this life. I suddenly remembered, during the time after I died, when my soul was wandering in the air, I once saw him attend my funeral, and his expression was just as calm. In order to make my mother trust me again, I immersed myself in my studies, wanting her to know that I wasn't completely useless. Jiang Yuanzhou gave me all his previous notes. Seeing how hard I was working now, he wasn't surprised at all. He took the initiative to explain the knowledge points that I didn't understand in a more accessible way. In the last final exam, I was ranked 490th in the grade. There were a total of more than 500 students. I was really bad before. When this time's grades came out, I had advanced 300 places. Jiang Yuanzhou was first, Guxing was second, and Bai Xiaoxiao was fifth. I was about to go find Jiang Yuanzhou, but Bai Xiaoxiao stopped me in front of the ranking list, looking aggrieved. "Xiaoyan, I know you don't like me, but I can also give you tutoring lessons." I frowned. "You've even regressed yourself. You'd better take care of yourself first." Previously, before she met Guxing, she was at least always second in exams. She persistently chased after me and asked, "Xing has been ignoring me recently. You've known him since childhood, so you must know how I can win him back." I replied with a cold expression, "I don't know, you must have a way." Her eyes turned slightly red, and this look was very effective in arousing people's protective instincts. But unfortunately, I wasn't the male lead. I smiled and said, Do you really need his favor that much? Naonieo looked a bit dazed at my question. I continued, before you met him, you had excellent grades, and your learning and practical abilities were never inferior to others. Even I have to admit that you're very smart, but now, you've become a daughter flower that depends on others. Do you really have to rely on others to survive? In the plot, Naonieo got into a very good school, but in her junior year of college, she got pregnant, dropped out, and was kept at home by Gu Xing, living off his favor. The female lead in a sweet romance novel is actually also a supporting character, just a more advanced one than the others. Without him, it's like a fancy robe losing its lice. It would only feel more comfortable to wear. Naonieo bit her lip and remained silent. I realized I had said too much and didn't want to pay attention to her anymore. Among the classmates who squeezed in to check the grades, someone shouted, "There's a fight at the basketball court." This sentence was like throwing a bomb into the crowd. In an instant, everyone rushed to the basketball court to watch the commotion, and today was the date when Jiang Yuanzhou and Gu Xing had agreed to compete. The injured person had already been taken to the infirmary. It was Gu Xing who had fouled by throwing the basketball at Jiang Yuanzhou. Jiang Yuanzhou blocked it with his left arm. There was no time to cushion the impact, and he suffered a comminuted fracture. He had already been put in a cast. Gu Xing didn't think he was in the wrong. Isn't he just looking for compensation? I have plenty of money. These words were exactly the same as when he ran over Li Weiwei with his car in the previous life. I rushed up and slapped Gu Xing across the face. Got so much money, huh? Gu Xing was left stunned by my slap. Jiang Yuanzhou happened to wake up at this moment. When he opened his eyes and saw me hitting Gu Xing and the slap mark on Gu Xing's face, he was also stunned. Maybe he didn't expect me to be so fierce. Gu Xing angrily glared at Jiang Yuanzhou and then looked at me. You hit me for him. Exactly, you deserved it. My hand stung painfully. Jiang Yuanzhou handed me the ice cube in his hand. Does it hurt? I didn't decline. You know what? It really stings. The school organized a 1-week study tour. Before I left, my mother said she wanted to give me a reward for my improved grades. She said mysteriously that I had to wait until I got back to receive it. I was a bit worried, so I got a new phone card and gave it to Aunt Wang, telling her to call me if anything happened. Zhao Jianqing was good at playing dirty tricks. When I packed my things and rushed to the school gate, the bus was already full, except for an empty seat next to Jiang Yuanzhou. He still hadn't had his cast removed, and he looked rather clumsy. He tried to get up to let me in. I stopped him. People are constantly walking up and down the aisle. You might get bumped. A blush crept up his cheeks. I'll be fine. Injuries to bones and muscles take 100 days to heal. I smiled. Since this study tour counted towards credits, no one could ask for leave. Gu Xing was also on the bus, but the person sitting next to him wasn't Naonieo. Naonieo was sitting with another girl, chatting and laughing. When Gu Xing saw me, his face darkened. He couldn't help but call out to Naonieo, but she ignored him. Furious, Gu Xing kicked the seat in front of him, but his foot got stuck. It took him a long time to pull it out, and his shoe was even pulled off. Jiang Yuanzhou sat quietly beside me and somehow fell asleep. His head uncontrollably leaned towards me and rested on my shoulder. I didn't want to disturb him at first, but he woke up on his own. When he woke up and saw that his head was on my shoulder, he immediately sat up straight. I'm sorry, I shook my head with a smile. You should say, thank you. Li Weiwei, who was sitting in front of us, suddenly leaned over with a mischievous smile. You little rascal, taking advantage of our Zhao Yan. Jiang Yuanzhou's eyes were clear, and his face turned red. I slapped Li Weiwei. Stop talking nonsense. Li Weiwei didn't let him off. Zhao Yan loves SpongeBob SquarePants the most. Her birthday is coming up. Thank me quickly, or you'll have to rack your brains. Jiang Yuanzhou really only said 3 words. Thank you. She's just kidding. Don't take it seriously. I knew Jiang Yuanzhou was in a difficult situation and never really expected him to prepare a birthday gift for me. But he asked, when exactly is it? I waved my hand. It's just a birthday. I usually only celebrate it with my family. His expression turned a bit dejected. Okay, I said. Don't forget that promise. Consider it my birthday gift. It's very important to me. I won't forget. Jiang Yuanzhou, I called him. He always responded to me immediately, even if he didn't know what to say. You're really nice. He was taken aback for a moment. You are too. Very nice. Halfway through the study tour, the teacher in charge suddenly came to me. She said that my mother had passed away. She and Zhao Jianqing had gone on a trip to the mountains and accidentally fell off a cliff. It was exactly the same as when I fell off a building in my previous life. That was my mother. Yet I was the last one to know the news. I immediately booked a flight back. When I arrived home,